I know it's not gorillas, guys.
But now I'm mad it's not. Honestly now, yeah.
No, Jesus Christ.
Dude, honestly, imagine Tagilla with his mask, the gorilla mask, rounding a corner with 8 gorillas in a flying V Mighty Ducks formation.
You see fucking Tagilla around the corner, he takes off the mask and it's a gorilla face.
Now I'm really mad that it's not that. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, a guy with Sandstorm by Dardu stuck in my head.
By Stardew?
By Dardu. Sandstorm by Dardu. What
the fuck is Dardu?
Isn't that the guy's name?
Darude?
Darude. You know, my whole life I thought it was Dardu. Holy cow. This is one of those things. This is one of those things where you just like, you read something some way when you're 14 and you just never question it again. I've always thought his name was Dardu. I had to look it up.
You had the U and the D backwards?
Yeah, I had to look it up to just see that you were not trolling me. Darude.
You've just been diagnosed with dyslexia, I think. That was the official diagnosis.
Or at least I was whenever this song came out. When did this song come out?
I think you said Stardew.
Dardu.
Yes, from the Stardew Valley OST.
Hold on. When do you think this song came out? Oh my.
1999.
That is right. How did you just know that? You have it pulled up, don't you?
No.
Dude, I would have said like,
I was going to say 1997.
I was going to say like 2008.
No, see, I was going to say 1997, but I'm pretty sure that's when Ocarina of Time. That was 98. I was going to say I would have guessed it was a couple years after like Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, which was 96, 97, 98 in that realm. So I just said 99 because
wow.
So here's my reasoning. If it was 2001, I don't think you would have been as what, right? But as soon as you 99 is another
just cross the threshold, yeah. Another millennium, literally.
Another millennium, another century, another.
Dude, you know, I was talking to my wife about the other day. How little.
My life.
When I say we isn't mostly just me, but I hope other people also think this way. I just have no concept of time at all, right? Like if we talk about things, how life was like 150 years ago, to me, that's like 500 years ago. You know what I mean? Like
you don't realize like your grandfather's dad.
Exactly. You know, but so it's like, I can't comprehend how fast technology has, kind of exploded. And then on the flip side, I can't understand how long evolution took. Like, does that make sense? It's like we stayed almost exactly the same for hundreds of thousands of years. But then 150 years ago. So it's like, if you asked me when medieval times was, I would have said 2,000 years ago. But like the 1400s were medieval times. I looked it up. It was like 400 to 1400. But then if you asked me when the steam engine was, I was hundreds of years ago. But it was like, I don't know. I just have no concept.
Steam engine? Wasn't
or
it
no,
like
not the
late
steam
19th
engine.
century?
I meant something else. I just have no concept of time whatsoever.
I mean, yeah, dude.
And I also can't read.
Damn, it was earlier than that. It was the early 18th century, 1712. The steam engine.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dude. Like the concept of millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years, it's completely and utterly meaningless.
Especially in the context of today, how 10 years ago life could, 20 years ago when the first smartphone, it's just like,
you know what's ironic about
how do you reconcile those things?
What we're talking about, you brought it up in the context of evolution. And the part of the reason why we don't really grasp the concept of big numbers is because we didn't evolve the ability to.
Yeah.
It's kind of meta, right? Like we're talking about how long evolution took, and we can't comprehend how long evolution took because of evolution. But there you go. That's what happens when you got random mutation and natural selection.
And when you misread Darude in 1999.
Yeah, man.
To Dardu. That's how we got
fucking Dardu Valley.
Dardu.
Stardew Valley. I love that game.
Oh, well, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. I'm just been chilling. I went to go get my haircut today, and there's always a meme because I'm like always 5 or 10 minutes late to my haircuts,
Nice.
and I was like going to be like 7 minutes late, and I always come up with some like super elaborate, like, sorry dude, I got attacked by like 3 dogs. Like today it was I had to save like 14 kids from a burning building. And I'm like, so I'll be there like 7 minutes and 42 seconds late, like,
yeah.
and he all of a sudden I get a call and he's like, you're not on the schedule today. And I'm like 30 minutes into my drive, like it's because he has multiple places and one of the places is like a half hour.
Dang.
And I was like, oh fuck. So I like turned around. I probably would have streamed like 17 hours ago. I was up so early today too.
Dang.
But I like did nothing until noon. But yeah, I've just been chilling, just been playing some Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, dude. So I saw you were still on it. And last week was like, you were like, I'm playing it and I'm having fun, but we'll see how she goes. And then I see we are a week later, you're on it. Has the hook sank in, or are you still just like, I'm having fun, and when something else I want to play comes along?
Somewhere
in the middle?
It's not in the middle. I'm on multiple extremes at the same time.
Oh.
Didn't we just talk about this in the Patreon episode too? The whole both sides now. Didn't I have a book recommendation?
Yes.
Was that the Patreon episode?
Yes. It was.
Check out Patreon.
By the way, the PP, the podcast Patreon, the Creamcast, the Hot Dog Finger Show.
People have been loving it. We've been answering.
The episode had audio this week, which is crazy.
Yeah, people, if you're paying, know now that you're paying for actual audio too, and not just.
We added that, no extra cost to the Patreon tiers.
I mean, honestly, we're losing money now, but the price of audio these days.
Yeah.
What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, right. Most ADHD bullshit we've ever. So I have like two different thoughts on the subject. One of them isn't really necessarily related to Baldur's Gate, but more about what it kind of represents. Remember the whole thing when Baldur's Gate like first released, and that one guy posted, like, super,
don't let this be an expectation for other. Yeah.
And like, here's what happened. I'm just going to like totally simplify it. The gaming world, as unanimously as the gaming world is ever, which is not very, it was basically like, oh my God, Larian, they are gods.
Jesus.
The game is a perfect, unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It doesn't have any of the issues that we hate all the other games for. It was just put up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And in so many ways, deservedly.
Yeah.
While at the same time, before I get into like all of the good stuff.
Yeah.
I've experienced like a dozen bugs a day, every day, like constantly, like game-breaking bugs. Like,
interesting.
It's turn-based kind of combat because it's all like D&D basically.
Yeah.
And it's like you go to click and like the person will run.
Yeah.
And then like you won't be able to do anything once you get there. And then like the next turn you'll go to like have them attack and they'll go back here and run.
Yeah.
And it's like just constantly having to like auto save and load and tons of weird bugs and whatever. And it's fine. Like I'm not even mad about those issues, but what I am mad about is that if it was Diablo 4, everybody would be like, burn down Blizzard headquarters, find the CEO and assassinate him. Like, because this is an atrocity. These incompetent asshole idiot developers, they're all fucking burn them, right? Like, and so it like represents to me the hypocrisy that I know is happening where Diablo. Now, granted, I know we're comparing like apples and oranges
for sure.
Like Diablo is infinitely more stable than Baldur's Gate. So this whole idea that like the game's broken and the performance is terrible and all this stuff, it's like, oh God,
it is interesting to see how like those kind of goalposts move. And once again, this is definitely not at all to Larian's. It's not their fault, right? Like the way
it is, but it's reasonable.
Well, no, it's their fault that there are bugs. I'm saying it's not their fault that it was hyped up. Like the pedestal Baldur's Gate 3 was put on wasn't like due to like $100 million marketing campaign, right?
Yeah.
Like the way the internet works is like, it's so crazy. It's like lightning. It just strikes so fast. If it's such a house of cards where if just 3 of the right influencers in any space say this is the best game ever made, it's just like a waterfall, and then it just goes crazy, and then things go wild. And it's funny how, like, you know, if they're an indie dev, then, you know, XYZ or is forgiven. It's like, oh, bugs don't bother us. It's not bugs, it's monetization. But then if a AAA game puts out a game with no monetization but bugs are all of a sudden a really bad thing. And then also it kind of pseudo implies, the other thing I hear is that like the love for the Baldur's Gate, which once again is probably warranted love, also kind of just turns into pseudo implying that like no other games are like this. And I bet that there are so many indie games with indie game developers with their games on Steam who it's like there's no monetization. It was a labor of love. They're fun, good games, but because, you know, Asmongold didn't play it or this person didn't play it, they never blew up.
Like Outer Wilds.
Yeah.
My favorite game of all time, better than Ocarina of Time, life-changing game, and it's like $18 and nobody's heard of it.
Yeah, and so like this, once again, I don't think, and I don't point that finger at anybody. I don't think originally the people who are praising Baldur's Gate were at all saying there are no other games that are good. But what happens is by the time it assimilates into like Twitch chats and just like all the way down, that's what you hear. They're like, dude, this game is so good. Nobody makes games like this anymore. All this. And it's like, that's kind of also not true. So it's fast. I haven't played Baldur's Gate. I would love Baldur's Gate. I've watched a lot of it. But it's so interesting to see how these things move and how goalposts move and just like how internet culture like accepts or rejects a thing. Diablo, they did one bad thing, they're just rejecting.
There were just so many L's.
Yeah.
So long that everybody was all like shitting on everything, and and they were all just waiting for like the underdog story. That's why everybody loved when No Man's Sky tanked.
Yeah.
And then they loved when it came back.
Yeah.
It's all about like narrative.
It is,
and not about like facts.
Yeah.
And it's all about like emotions, and you need to take sides and blah blah blah. We talked about that ad nauseum. So I just wanted to point that out, that like I've experienced a shit ton of bugs and yet I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, it's the game itself is incredibly good.
Yeah.
Like definitely 9 out of 10 at least.
That's awesome.
Maybe 9.5. And what's so cool about it, I ask you this every time and I always forget the answer. Did you play Skyrim?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So in Skyrim had like so many amazing things, right?
Yeah.
There were a couple things that like at the time didn't really bother me or whatever, but when you actually like think about it, if I were to go back and play it now, I probably would notice.
Yeah.
There's a few things that like felt like they could have been amazing, but not. So one of the examples, at least for me and other people, like there might be different metas, there might be different strategies. I don't know. I've played the game a million times. If you ever played any like sneaky rogue characters or whatever, if you ever want to do pickpocketing or you ever want to like pick a lock and like break into a house, the moment you get caught, it's almost like the game is ruined.
Yeah.
Because you either need to like go to jail, which is just like a headache, or you have the whole town aggroes you.
Yeah,
it's like they've got walkie-talkies somehow. They all know.
Yeah.
And then there's just everything wants to kill you.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next town and they're like, the thief, and they come after you. It's like, fuck, right? Like,
yep.
So you've got all of this, like the facade of freedom to do all of these things, and yet you really can't without kind of it really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Without it being really annoying. So with Baldur's Gate, that aspect of it. Oh, okay. So there's that, but then there's also you make decisions in Skyrim that affect the story.
Yeah.
You either go with the Stormcloaks or the fucking whatever the other ones are. I'm completely forgetting. You like choose sides in the war, And ultimately speaking, you can interchange both stories. The other people
Yeah.
fucking scum, and we're gonna win.
Yeah.
It just depends on if you're wearing like fur armor or
Yeah.
metal armor.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like pretty much everything is the same. And you can like choose to join factions, which closes the door to other factions sometimes, and will like close the door to quest lines potentially, and that's basically it, right?
Yeah.
So I've played 2 playthroughs so far. Well, actually, I played for like, I don't know, 100 hours or something on like 1 playthrough. And what ended up happening was I went really far down the main quest line.
In Baldur's Gate?
Yeah, I didn't go wide.
Yeah, okay.
I just was like, went down. And what ended up happening was, first of all, I was like learning the mechanics.
Yeah.
I am not super well versed in the nitty gritty details of like D&D.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that like I wasn't sure. I'm like, oh, if I do a saving throw and this and what that, and what if I roll it, and also like learning the rules of the game, quote unquote,
sure.
which is like, so there's a lot of like save scumming. I would do something 27 times until I did it right, and would quick load a million times just to because I like wanted to learn. And it gets to the point where I think like level 12 is like max level in the game.
Okay.
I think I got to like level 6 or 7 with my party. And I was like in Act 2. There's 3 acts, I believe. And what ended up happening when I made that like jump to Act 2, it basically was like all of the quests that I had just dipped my toes into were like, that person, that's done. That person, they're dead. That person, maybe you'll find out. So there were a lot of things that I'm like, oh fuck, I probably should have tied up some of these loose ends.
Yeah.
I realized I like kind of screwed myself a little bit, going down the main quest line and not doing the other stuff. Sometimes I get overwhelmed when there's 97 open quests.
For sure.
So I'm like, what I want to do is like do the main quest, finish it, and then I'm gonna like go down one branch, finish it, go down another branch.
Yeah.
Which you can't exactly do. I mean, you really kind of like do like 3 or 4 branches at once. And sometimes it's really satisfying when like you do them and then it's like you go here and all 4 of them are like done at the same guy or the same town or whatever. But dude, so after that, I started a second playthrough and I'm like, all right, now that I know the mechanics, I'm gonna play things differently. I'm gonna try to go wide.
Yeah.
Be completionist. I'm gonna check every fucking cellar, bro. My playthrough the second time through is so different.
Yeah, like really meaningfully.
I walked by that brick wall and I failed a perception check, and then nothing happened. This time around, it's a underground passageway that opens up a fucking whole side quest chain with a bunch of NPCs. Sick. Half of my party, actually. Yeah, the party, you can have 4 people, 4 characters, and 2 of them that I had on my original playthrough, I've killed. Rather than they were like my friends, in this instance, I killed them. I can't express enough, dude, how awesomely dynamic it is.
That's cool.
And also there's so many ways to solve problems. In Skyrim there was too. It's like you can either fight the person or persuade them.
Yeah.
Or like pick the lock, but like they really did a good job where there's a lot of ways to was trying to remember the phrase, like skin a cat.
Yeah. I think there's an expression in there.
Yeah, there's more there,
Yeah. There's
you know what I mean.
Lots of ways to skin an onion.
Coin it. I think it's a chop an onion. There's lots of ways to chop an onion.
Yeah.
Veritas 2023. But dude, it's so significant to me how really interesting the way that they've implemented everything is. It really the replayability is just going to be fucking insane.
That's what I've heard. It's just like tremendously replayable.
Yeah.
Because like I think a thing that's normal, kind of what you said about Skyrim. Normally, the replayability of the game is like entirely based on how you decide to play it differently. But if in Baldur's Gate, if you build a different starting character, like you said, you might walk past the wall and fail a perception check or pass it. And so there's at least like some element that almost feels out of your control. That, Var, do you hear something I don't hear?
You just froze on my screen.
Oh.
I was like, what the fuck? You're like, you might hear something or
Oh, did my audio go as well?
everything went. I was like,
That's weird.
wondering if I had a stroke or not. I think you're good.
Is it good now? Okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine now. I just got so concerned. I was like, oh fuck, did my router go? Did I get hit by lightning? Am I having a stroke?
Anyways, what I was saying was like, it's just interesting. It's cool that some of the replayability, it becomes more meaningfully replayable when some of that replayability is out of your control. In Skyrim, it's just, I did this before, I'm going to do something different, as opposed to like, that wasn't open to me before. Now I want to explore it. And that is a kind of like an evolution in gaming replayability, as opposed to just, I went with the Stormcloaks, now I'm going to go with the Dark Brotherhood. It's like, I legitimately couldn't do these things before or didn't know that was there or whatever. So that's dope.
Yeah. And you can go really deep with like the relationship.
Yeah, I've heard.
Side of things. Everything. You can fuck everything.
Everything is what I've heard.
From like bears to devils to angels to all the things. I've basically been spending all of my time trying to get with this one particular character, Shadowheart, and I literally got like her like feeling towards me like all the way up to the max, but everything kind of like, I almost just said everything kind of climaxed, but it didn't. Basically, like, I just don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
I got to the point where like things were kind of popping off, so that every time I go to talk with her, she'd be like, "Things are fucked up right now. Like, come back to me later." And I'm like, "No!" Like, I was so like the next time
ready.
I would go back to the camp, she would have like woken me up and been like, "Let's do this." And then like I talked to this other dude like twice, and he's like, "Yo, let's fuck." Like, you know, I'm like, "Come on, man!" Like, I kissed a guy before. And I wasn't even like trying. I'm just like, oh God, here we go. And then like she was like, oh, so you want to be with him? I'm like, are you fucking joking? Like, no, I don't. I was just bored. Like, fuck. Oh God.
That's tremendous.
Yeah. So anyway, the game.
Well, that's cool, man.
The game is really fucking good. And they just had an update today. Oh, and there's mod support.
Oh.
So I had 2 mods. One of them was it lets you control the character with WASD because you actually don't normally. It's like
clicking. Yeah.
And then the camera, it's like you're either like sort of behind, like third person over the shoulder, or you're like looking down at like a, you know, fucking, whatever, 20-degree angle downwards. I'm sure the math on that is not right. But it's like really kind of limiting. Like if you're sitting there and there's like a hill and like an enemy, it's like I want to put the camera down so that I can look up, and you kind of like can't. So there was a WASD mod, and then there's a free cam mod that like just lets you go, you know, you can basically just go full upskirt mode plus like down, you know, perfectly vertical down. But the update broke both of those mods. I think they actually fixed the mods already. I haven't tried it out yet, but
dope.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking into. I've been wanting to mod for so long. I talked about it with like No Man's Sky. I just don't even know what I don't know. There's just so much research I need to do, but I really want to. So my second character is a bard, and he's fucking playing a lute, and basically, I just got this whole theme where I'm creating like a punk emo band.
Yes. In Baldur's Gate.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
And I asked ChatGPT to name so my band name. What the fuck was my band name, chat? I gave ChatGPT Lunar Lament.
Lunar Lament.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And my character's name is Melodious.
Melodious.
According to those ChatGPT, I told it. I gave it my whole backstory and everything.
Lunar Lament.
It's
Love
a
it.
great fucking name.
That's a great punk rock.
Like Midwestern emo band.
Yeah.
That does like covers of the Twilight soundtrack.
Yeah. Yep.
Any simps for Bella in the audience? No, but so the I think the mod I would love to make would be related to, because you can like play the lute, but you're like hitting a button like, which song do you play?
Okay.
And he actually plays it, and then like the soundtrack goes lower. So like you can be in battle, and as like a free action, you can just be like, and, like, your guy's just sitting there, and then he gets like hit with an arrow and like puts it away. But I would love to have some ability to like, I don't know, that like you could either make it like a sequencer kind of thing, or you can make it like you just press buttons and it would play individual notes or whatever. But I have some ideas about how you can, because there's like a drum, there's a lute, there's like a violin, there's all these different instruments. It'd be so sick. So I'm gonna look into that.
I've been watching a lot of Dark and Darker, and they added a bard, and like there's like 6 different songs you can play, and like some debuff your enemy, some buff you, some buff your party, some do this. And it's just been really funny to see like Sequisha, he's in a fight and he's just like, he's like VoIPing at the guy. He's like, come on. He's like, and then he comes back and it's just like, it's so great because it's like 5 or 6 different clicks and the music is so cheesy. It's hilarious.
So I think one of the updates they added today for Baldur's Gate involved, so you can do co-op. And I think what they added was like, I don't know how it works exactly, but I think before you were kind of like locked into a co-op. I think now you can enter a co-op game and like play for a little bit and then like leave. I don't know if that would mean like we could combine our campaigns.
Oh, interesting.
For like a couple of days,
or
if you're just like, maybe you create a random character and you just come in and then you leave and then your character's gone. I don't know how it works. I'm sure somebody will tell us, but
that's dope.
But dude, one of the things we were talking about for the Patreon was some kind of D&D. Dude, I don't know if we need to get like Tower. He's done some DMing, although I think he wants to play and not DM. I know Batty has done a shit ton.
Yeah,
bro. Pogcast D&D would be incredible.
Yeah, aren't they called like one shots or something? Where like it's like a campaign that's supposed to be done in like one sitting, not like months or years. That's like you
do it like 4 or 5 hours or something.
Yeah, somebody was talking to me about that, and I was like, that actually would be kind of sick.
Dude, that'd be incredible. And you know what? Like something that we could do to prepare for that would be to play Baldur's Gate, like do some co-op, because I don't know how much experience, do you have like any experience with D&D whatsoever? Yeah, so I mean, you would learn, like the game is literally D&D. Like you're clicking to roll dice.
Yeah.
It has all of the same mechanics, with only really a few modifications to like make it, like to video gamify it. But it's effectively 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, which is, so I mean that would be a good primer.
Seriously, dude, that would be sick. That could be
tell
super
me where
fun.
and when.
All right.
You tell me where and when.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. Lunar.
What's up with Tarkov?
Lament. Tarkov. So we got kind of quite a bit of news because last episode we recorded on Thursday. They had like kind of just started the Gamescom, and so like we saw like a little bit, we saw like a new trailer, and the website had launched, that stream that they did with like all the guys in the hideout, and so we had talked about that. But of course, right after we recorded the episode on like Friday or something, they did like their big Gamescom day where they did the last thing. They did a big community event at Gamescom. They did a Q&A. Nikita was there and basically just answered questions from the crowd and from Twitch chat. They streamed it, and it was like this. It was really cool. But we got quite a bit of stuff one of the things we got, if you want, I sent you the link if you want to pull it up. But one of the things we got was like a 6-minute,
Yeah, I already watched it.
basically just gameplay reveal, which was nice because we've seen a lot of trailers. But it really wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything in there that was like, oh my God, this is going to be an arena and I didn't know. It was just nice seeing like unbroken gameplay.
Was,
exactly. Yeah. It was like, this is how it starts. This is, how quickly to see how quickly from them running into a great gate, they run into enemies. Like kind of gives you an idea of how big some of the maps are. It was cool to see the Woods map because like I played Woods in Tarkov, and then in Contract Wars when they did their thing, or not Contract Wars, Hired Ops was like the sequel to Contract Wars. There was like this map. This version of Woods was in Hired Ops and Contract Wars. And so to see this version of Woods again in the arena, it's just like this cool full circle. And
it's like seeing a remastered game like on a new platform.
Yeah, but it's like so weird because like Hired Ops and Contract Wars was almost like the remastered Woods, but then you're like the I don't know, it was interesting. And then so seeing just like some of the interesting things were like the rounds are quick. Like that first Woods one, like in the top right, you see like the timer is like 1:30 or 2 minutes. So that kind of gives you an idea. There's the spectator mode is really cool. Like it's nothing crazy like the Call of Duty helmet cam. It's just like you see through their eyes, but it kind of looks like a camera. It has a little camera overlay. You can switch between your teammates. That's super sick. I don't think we saw any of the like kill cam stuff, but everything seems pretty normal to Tarkov in the sense that, you get shot in the leg, you're limping around. A lot of the footage they showed, as soon as the guys started, they were just popping a bunch of stims. I imagine that's going to be meta, right? If the round only lasts 2 minutes and you just have a Propital on your thing, you're just going to pop it so that you never have to limp. You know what I mean? Pop it right at the beginning.
One of the things I didn't pay attention to, is it always the perspective from the same guy, right? Is like, does he have the stims on the, oh, never mind. They cut between rounds. So like, I wonder how much control you have over like your loadouts or your keybinds or whatever. I wonder if like you get all that stuff again, like in the next round.
That is actually one of the questions. I don't know. Like I watched Glorious did a video on it because he went and got to play it. And I don't know right now. I think you pick your card or like your preset dude, and every round you have everything. But that was one of the questions. Is it almost like Valorant where you have this much money and you buy, your loadout, and then if you die in that round, you have to buy another loadout or buy more things? No, I don't know. Another thing too was like all the people that were there saying that they couldn't make custom loadouts. It was all just like what was there for them, the people that were playing it. But Nikita in the Q&A was talking about how you can unlock custom loadouts like way later. Like that's as you rank up in arena, you end up with the ability to create custom loadouts. So they're there, but you kind of are, especially in the beginning, are stuck with these. All the loadouts cost money. And in some of the still frames that people have broken down, some of the loadouts cost like 40,000 rubles, and some of the loadouts cost like 250,000 rubles. But then with the whole like Chronicles of Rigi pack that you get if you have the Edge of Darkness edition, like that pack has a buff where you make 10% more money if you're using that. And then after that, people noticed that a bunch of the loadouts had some of the little things. So an example was like one of the loadouts was like a Ronin helmet, which are like awful, no armor, and it was like an RSH 12. And that kit cost like 250,000 rubles. And it had this little symbol in the bottom right of it that nobody knows. So people are speculating that in addition to just your gear, certain loadouts will have buffs like additional XP or extra money made. And those things might be valuable if you think that your skill is up to par. You might be willing to pay the extra for the loadout to get more XP that rate if you're trying to grind your rank or whatever. So there was lots of just like interesting stuff that people were trying to suss out and figure out that we don't have exactly down pat. The other big confusing point here is, in Airwing Marine's video, he made a really good point. He was like, we have to remember that this conference is largely people who speak German asking questions to somebody who speaks Russian, and they're both communicating in English. So he was like, everybody, give some grace here. But there was a lot of confusion, especially like between how Airwing Marine interpreted some of these answers and how Nice Guy interpreted some of these answers. People are trying to figure out. One thing that Nikita said was in ranked mode. Remember we were talking about the soft skills and the concern of the soft skills? In ranked mode, it sounded like he was saying all skills are normalized. Like no matter what your level is, if you're playing the ranked playlist, everybody just has like level whatever strength, level whatever endurance, it's just boom.
Seems like a smart decision.
Seems like a very smart decision. But then Nice Guy, and he has listened to, and he actually did his own personal Q&A with Nikita. So I'm not saying he misinterpreted. I'm saying I don't know. But like Nice Guy was kind of under the impression that in the unranked mode, you don't level your PMC. Like the unranked mode is just like a free-for-all where there is no tie to Escape from Tarkov. And the ranked mode is as you level that up, you level up your PMC. And then he was confused because that would mean you would have to level skills in ranked because that. And so he was saying that maybe Nikita meant that like the skills are normalized. Maybe a Nice Guy was saying maybe Nikita meant like that's what the MMR is. You're with people with your similar skill. But it's all up in the air and nobody knows what the hell is going on still.
The skills are normalized versus the skill
is normalized. And
but then there's multiple ways to look at it. There's the skills are normalized, which is like, let's just say they give everybody level 25 everything or whatever, right? And then, then everybody's on a level playing field. That's one way to look at it. There's another way where it's just totally like whatever your character, like normal Tarkov, where level 1 against level fucking 70 max skills, whatever, totally different. Then there's another one, which is you have totally dynamic, whatever actual real skills and levels of all the things are, and they must have some way of quantizing that all into maybe averaging it all out or whatever. So if someone has max endurance and level 1 everything else, and someone has max strength and level 1 everything else, they're equal.
Yeah.
And then maybe someone who has mid strength and mid endurance, but level 1 everything else would be the same. Yeah. Right? That's a way of normalizing depending on how you interpret it.
It's very confusing. And so ultimately, I wasn't expecting that we got all the answers. I think it's really hard. Like I said, you could also tell it was if you watch the Q&A, you can kind of tell Nikita was not like nervous, but that was a live thing. He was just standing there and 10 feet in front of him were 300 people raising their hands and asking questions. So you could tell he was out of his element, speaking his not native language to other people who it wasn't their native language and Twitch chat. So like everybody kind of was giving the grace due, but I'm of the opinion now, it's just like, we're just not going to know until we get it, until it's here and we're playing it and we're like, oh, we level this and this, you know what I mean? But it was still interesting to hear them talk about it and yeah, just see the kind of like the 6 minutes of gameplay was really cool. It looks like what we wanted it to be. Short, smaller maps, fast pace, PvP. You die, it doesn't really matter, especially if there's an unranked mode, you can just play. You can just play and have fun and do your thing.
What we don't see, but I think a lot of people based on the comments and my initial assumptions, what we don't see is the actual time between rounds.
Yes, that is correct.
Like, it's easy to assume that we're like, when the round's over, they fade out, and then it's another map, round, another person, another. So when I first watched it, I was like, wow, you get back in really quickly, and then I realized like that's edited.
Yes.
So now, for all we know, there's a 5-minute wait in between fucking rounds, or it could be you go click, 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 and there's a 10-second countdown. Like I have no idea, but to me, that's going to be really important.
That is very important now
because that'll change how much time you're actually playing.
I don't think anyone asked that question. That's a great question. Now the flip side is nobody that I've spoken to that played mentioned that as a detractor. Nobody was like, man, it took us forever. Like there were a few people in my chat that live in Germany or live in that area that like went and like I had people on that day being like, dude, I played it. It was so sick. I was like, man, I was so jealous. And then
I would be so surprised if anybody fucking like,
of course,
if anybody paid attention to that aspect of it.
True. And then Glorious did a video he's somebody I really respect his opinion about the subject because he's A, just a guy that's with thousands of hours. B, I don't know that I've ever disagreed with him on a take. He's just like a really level-headed Tarkov player. And C, he's just amazing at the game. I watched his video and he was like in love with it. And so he was, I think
Nice.
everyone, including myself, would absolutely be in a honeymoon phase playing, right? Like we talked about this last time where like if I showed up and it was Apex Legends, I would still say I loved it because I was just there in Germany at Gamescom doing it.
Yeah. Were they on LAN?
I don't know. I would imagine so, right? But Glorious, like he came home and the next day he made a video and he was like, hey, I've been processing. I've been trying to think through. He was like, I love it. He was like, he said it's big 11.7 vibes. Like he was like, it just felt good. It felt clean. Like he didn't answer any questions as far as like, what was the strength level of your character or anything, you know what I mean? But he was just saying it felt smooth. It felt clean. He said, obviously servers felt great, but that was my question too. It was like, I think that was probably played on LAN. So I kind of just wrote that off. You know what I mean? But he just said that he loved it. He said he just had a blast playing it. So,
I mean, honestly, dude, when I saw it, I was like, that looks fun as fun as fuck. Like
100%.
I'll like after watching that, if Arena came out tomorrow, I'd be playing Arena.
Exactly. And especially since like I think ranked will be fun, but I'm not normally that kind of guy in these kind of games. Just like stressing about like I lost 3 games and I lost some MMR or whatever. Like I'm just like vibing. And I've been it's so top of mind that when I'm playing Tarkov and I get into a firefight and I die and it was a fun firefight, like even if I'm trying to quest, but if it was like a cool fight and I die, I just can't help but think now, like imagine dying.
That's going to be that constantly.
But being able to just get right back into that and not being mad that I lost a quest item. Like today's stream.
And not being mad that you have to spend 20 minutes getting your shit. And
today's stream was farming for Gluhar and farming for Killa to get those quests done. And it's just like every PvP fight was skewed through the lens of get out of my way. I just want to go see if Gluhar's here.
Yeah.
And I hate that. You know what I mean? Like that's fun in its own way, but I just some days I think it'll be fun to just hop on unranked arena and just not care, you know, just turn off the brain and just have fun.
Like what I mean, when you watch my old like Anatomy of a Firefight videos, that gameplay was what like made me fall in love with the game.
Yeah.
Because Tarkov has so many more aspects to it above and beyond shoot and reload.
Yes.
You know, it's like, you know, Call of Duty, you don't have the injury system. You don't do your own healing. It's mostly you just run away and then wait for like the red to fade away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't have to really manage your ammo like you do in Tarkov. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you're not punished as much for mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you empty a magazine or you don't, you know, count your bullets or whatever, then you never in Call of Duty was I ever like in a corner reloading, like, no, you know, which for better or worse, right? But like Tarkov is a lot more of like a chess game than
I agree.
A game of like, can you hit the 90-mile-an-hour pitch, you know, that's coming at your head, which is basically, you know, a lot of the COD games.
Yeah.
So those types of engagements, the whole like establish threats, prioritize, control, movement, shoot, kill, reload, heal, get the timings, listen, right? Like all of that whole problem solving thing.
Yep.
Back in the day, that's how I was able to be as good as I was. I mean, I'm not saying I was like incredible, but like far more competitive than I was, you know, like late Tarkov, because the game rewarded being smart.
Yes.
Rather than being quick and like uber precise. And by that, I mean, more about modding your weapons and less about controlling your weapons.
Yeah.
You know, like game like CSGO is more about like controlling your weapons.
Yep.
In many ways than Tarkov is with some of the RNG, but that's a whole other story. And what this, there's the opportunity.
Yes.
Or
we'll see
for this it's either going to be one of the two extremes.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's either going to be condensed cancer in a bottle that is just the most unenjoyable. You get net coded. Now you get net coded. It's not once every 30 minutes. It's once every 30 seconds.
Yep.
And I'll either be done in the first fucking 90 minutes and be like permanently done with Tarkov forever, right? Like if I'm just getting cucked with netcode and the sound's fucked and everything, it's like, oh, this is just the same dog shit.
Yeah.
But it could also be, the lightning in a bottle, which
For sure.
is every 30 seconds you get a chance to solve the combat puzzle.
Yes.
And if it feels good, then I mean,
because you hit the nail on the head with like when you use the word control. When I'm watching Tarkov and I'm really invested in it, or when I'm like playing and I'm having the best raids ever, it really is that. It's like controlling how a fight is going to go. Like when you watch Desmond, if he's narrating what he's doing, a lot of people watch him and they don't realize how much goes on. Like he runs out of a building, throws a nade, runs back up because he knows how long the fuse is, and he knows if he throws it through this window, then there can't be a guy here. So then he can take the right-hand angle, and he's just like, he knows where the people are, and he knows what he wants to do, and he can control 2 or 3 people. He can be pinched, but he never loses control because he knows this guy's going to do this. He knows if I throw a nade there, that guy's not going to push that. So then I can swing this corner, and it's crazy. It's just that happens so few and far between because of all the other things in Tarkov, that if they do catch that feeling and it's consistent and fun and hopefully smaller maps and less entities, very much so less loot, less AI and less players.
Things aren't going to be spawning behind you.
Exactly.
The timings are going to be known. You have,
Exactly. And potentially just so much better frames because it's smaller and everything. And then hopefully the audio can be better because the maps are so much smaller. They could have spent the extra time on like placing these occlusion zones.
3 fucking occlusion zones.
Exactly, right? So hopefully, I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, so it was cool and seeing it was cool. Oh, the one thing Glorious was saying, he was like, I told them, he was like, they have to do this right now before you release the game. But there was no comms. You couldn't talk to your teammates. There's no like team comms. He's like, if you were in a Discord, if you and your homies are in a Discord call, it'll be fine. But he's like, if you're soloing and you're trying to like, and you die and you're trying to tell, hey, there's a guy around you just can't. And
it should just be VoIP. Yeah.
Glorious was like, brothers, you guys gotta add something. And they like acknowledged it. They were like, oh, okay.
That would be oh my God, this will never happen because the meta is going to be everybody's in Discord.
Yeah.
But can you imagine how much better, bro? Imagine the rounds are a little bit longer. The time to kill is a little bit slower. Maybe because you have limited ammo options or whatever. And then imagine VoIP to where like you're fucking creeping your boy, like you don't know where anything is. You're looking at them and they're doing fucking hand signals or whatever. And then finally like they're around a corner. You're like, yo, where are you at? Because there's no mini map. And you hear like, yo, I'm over here, man.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, yo, you hear him over there? Like then now you hear the enemies and just having that information, like
that'd be sick.
Oh man, it would be so fucking good, right?
Yeah.
Like I would just love a 3v3 with VoIP where you hear people yelling back and forth.
Yeah.
Dude, it would be so fucking
It would be sick.
We'd have to do that if they have like scrims, like private games, we get us and all the homies like to just play like all day long, and that'd be incredible.
That'd be dope. So I don't know. They said that most of the presets that they had access to had like much worse ammo. So that might increase time to kill a little bit, right? Like if everyone doesn't have 995 or BP, if you have, T46, you still can hit that face shot and kill someone, but it potentially extends the firefights out a little bit longer. So we'll see. So that was the arena stuff. And then Nikita did the big Q&A. And because of that, like that was most of the like arena focused things. But because Nikita was just doing a big Q&A, lots of questions get asked about everything. And he answered quite a bit. He said that Someone asked about Streets, and he said that there's 2 additional expansions for Streets planned. We knew that one was coming in December. And he said that the way a lot of people interpreted it was he said that, but they're delaying the expansion that was supposed to come in December. And he said that neither of the expansions are coming until 1.0. So basically Streets, as we have it right now, is how it's going to be until 1.0. Now, my theory and Nice Guy's theory and a few people's theory, I know I'm high on copium, but I do think that they're trying to they just keep talking about 1.0 so much more. Like, I think late 2024 or early 2025, we'll have 1.0. Now, as we've talked about before, 1.0 doesn't mean everything they've ever said is in the game. I think they're at that, cut that. We can get all this done by the end of the next year. We need to ship this game. That's what I mean by that, but that's kind of where I think we're at. So as depressed as I am about that, because I love Streets so much, Streets plays so horribly that I feel like it's a smart decision. He literally said we just chose to delay the expansions because we really just want to optimize the map that we have. And
that's something I've been constantly hearing people saying. I want to play Streets, but I can't even.
Dude,
I can't run it.
It's crazy because that's all wipe last wipe. People say that. It's just like this is the crown jewel. There is no map that comes even close as far as map design, fun ability to play, the amount of AI and the different experiences you can have. It is the crown jewel of Tarkov. And so many people, even all of last wipe, I still haven't played Streets because I just get such terrible frames. Then they increase the size of it and it performs, at best the same, but most likely worse for a lot of people. You've been basically unable to scav on Streets the whole wipe. You get these crazy errors where it just kicks you and you just get into a loop of reconnect to raid, then it kicks you, reconnect to raid, then it kicks you. Frames are bad, stutters are bad. It's and it's weird stuff like frame timings are bad. I'll be like, what's happening to my game? It feels like AIDS. And then I'll pull up my FPS thing and it's 110 frames. And I'm like, no, something's wrong. It's weird, screen tearing and all sorts of stuff, but only on Streets. The map it's rough, but it's so good and so fun, and fighting Kaban is fun and the new area is fun, but it's so rough. So as frustrated as I am because I want more Streets, I'm kind of okay with that decision. You know what I mean? I want them to just optimize the map that they have. So he did say that there's potentially a new location, a new map coming in December.
Oh.
Which would have to be Terminal, I would imagine, because Terminal is the only map that we quote unquote need for the game to go 1.0. Terminal, as what's been stated in the past, Terminal is part of the storyline quests, and suburbs and town weren't. So Terminal needs to be in the game for the storyline quests, and no other map has ever been mentioned that is being worked on.
Yeah, they should just remove those other 2, dude. Bro, it takes them a long time to make maps.
Yes.
And they do a bunch of expansions and they iterate on them and do performance years.
Yes.
So unless they're 90% done with all of the other maps.
Yeah, I agree.
They should just cut it. I think they probably already decided that. They just haven't announced it yet.
No, they've in a Q&A, they've said suburbs in town are moved to DLC. And then I think the information started floating around. I don't know where it originally came from, but information started floating around that suburbs basically got assimilated into Streets. What they wanted to do with suburbs, they were just going to make one of the Streets expansions. So it's not going to be, but I don't know where that information came from. So I don't know if it's true, but that's what I've heard. Anyways, there's a new location coming. And then here's the other thing. He also teased a shoreline expansion. And, here's the thing. What he made it sound like was the terminal. At the edge, in the bottom right-hand corner, where those cargo, you can see the cargo, and there's the big wall where the landmines are.
Oh, yeah, where yeah.
That was kind of... So I had always thought that was Terminal. Like, you know how you can see lighthouse from shoreline? Like you can see
the opposite corner.
exactly. You can see reserve, the dome from shoreline. I always thought that was the terminal map, but he mentioned a shoreline expansion, and he mentioned, which we'll talk about later, but the Russian military guarding some stuff on shoreline. So I don't think it's like a shoreline.
Guard towers
exactly. So I don't think it's shoreline can't physically expand. If you're standing on shoreline, the north is the resort, right? And on the other side of the resort is reserve. The west is lighthouse. The south is water. And the east is like a river. There's like a river there, which I guess technically you could just cross the river, but there's nowhere else for shoreline to expand other than that southeast corner, which is like that area. But I always thought that was terminal. And in the Q&A, he kind of made those things. Well, I guess he didn't say terminal, but he said a new location, and then he said a shoreline expansion. So I don't really know. But either way, what I want is to be able to go out on that area of shoreline. Whether you call it terminal or whether it's a shoreline expansion, I want to be able to go out there. So, but that's exciting.
I mean, it's also possible that they just add like a whole area over there and never release terminal, but just call that lighthouse, right? Like,
yeah, or call that terminal.
No, like make lighthouse bigger. Have that be what, like,
yeah.
Other than performance, which I mean, they've already. Streets is already bigger than like what lighthouse plus terminal would be. Probably. Well, I don't know the scale of these things, but like they'd be comparable, right? We're not talking about like 10x.
Correct.
If they solve performance on streets, then it would be fine to have a shoreline and terminal together in one map. It's more work to add another map than it would be to build on top of another map.
Yeah. That's what I've been saying with like open world and stuff like that, and like stitching maps together. If they still have 2 more expansions for streets, and they ever get to a point where a map that big can run effectively in Escape from Tarkov, then they can just combine maps, right? Like Shoreline and Lighthouse can just smash together because that's not as big as what Streets would be after 2 more. And so I agree with you there. But nobody really knows. We're thinking it's probably terminal. We don't know. Yeah. So like Shoreline, Terminal, and Lighthouse could be one map. Or Shoreline, Lighthouse, and Reserve. But yeah, like that map
did I say Lighthouse earlier?
Yeah.
Oh, when I was talking about combining them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I meant Shoreline and Terminal.
Yeah.
Just add an expansion.
Yeah.
Don't add a new, like, get rid of this from the fucking.
Yeah.
Move the label Shoreline over here.
Yeah, that map is also not right at all because Reserve is 100% just like right above Shoreline. It's not like up off to the left there.
Yeah, like there's no water visible.
And Factory is like inside of Customs.
Inside of Customs.
Yeah, so this map is like weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's exciting nonetheless. The possibility of a new map, the possibility of expanding maps. I love the expansions. And then he also mentioned like they want to continue to expand like maps even after release. This also tells me that what they're trying to do is now separating it out and be like, okay, this is what we get to 1.0. This is all the things we dreamed of. We can do those things later. Because he mentioned that, that some of the maps aren't as big, basically, is what he was saying, as they wanted them. So they might release the game and then continue to expand maps after as like, I guess, faux DLC or just really continuing and completing. And the other thing, I don't know why I put that there, but these things. Okay, so this was interesting. I don't have the quote exactly. I can go find it in the Q&A, but it was asked about open world again, and it was kind of a not very confidence instilling answer. Like,
there's no way.
Which is, I agree, but
at this point, we were just talking about how I don't think we can fit in 1 or 2 other maps.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about connecting them all is 8 billion times more complex.
So once again,
I said they were never going to do vaulting. So,
Yeah, listen. watch the Q&A if you're listening to this and you don't like the way I am definitely bastardizing this whole thing, but somebody asked about like safe zones and like map to map travel, and like would there ever be places where like multiple PMCs can be maybe trading if there's more in-game traders or whatever. And Nikita, and that ended up basically turning into a conversation about open world, and Nikita basically was like, I guess the way he answered was basically, we're on the road to 1.0 and there's lots of cool ideas on open world and map to map travel, and we're still not there yet.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Not that there's a chance.
There's lots of cool ideas. We're never gonna do that.
But that's the thing. He really, I mean, he said, he was like, we want to we want to put all the maps together in this one big map and see how it goes. But so I genuinely think that's still the plan. But what I think they're going to do is do this really weird thing where they launch the game in 1.0 and like map to map travel and or open world is going to be like a thing that comes later, which you would think something like map to map travel or 1.0, it's so fundamental to the experience. And so now once again, I'm not saying, I kind of gave up on the open world dream a while ago. Even though it is my dream, I did kind of give up on it. So I don't really care anymore. I just think that, okay, of course I care. I just moved from caring about open world to like, let's just make like 3 or 4 big maps. I don't know. It wasn't very confidence instilling, because it seemed like they're all about getting the game to 1.0. Like that is their 911. And this didn't feel like a 911 thing where they were like, yeah, we're going to figure it out. And it's like, okay, like how are you going to do that after the game releases? I don't know. And I don't know. Remember when they talked about, like, I was on reserve because I was doing these reserve quests, and I took the train, and I was like, you remember when they added the train on reserve, and they were like, there's going to be a train on every map, and like, this is how you're going to get around to the maps. It was like the train. You remember that? And,
I remember that, yeah.
And then so they've said so many things, and it's so weird because they hadn't talked about open world in so long that in my head it was the perfect time for them to say like, no, we just dropped that. We can't do it. You know, it had been so long. And the fact that the past like 3 times he's been asked about it, he's been like, yeah, I mean, we still want to do it. It's just crazy to me, because who believes that can happen? I dream about it still. I want it to happen so badly, but I just like 2 FPS. You know what I mean? It's going to be, there's no way.
Getting like, there's just such like mixed signals.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just mixed signals, and it's confusing.
I'm getting the same kind of vibes when I, look at like the No Man's Sky old interviews where they're like, every question is about multiplayer, and he's like, you see him kind of like, well, yeah, but like, yeah, it's a shared universe. And it's like, now interpreting what he said, he wasn't lying, but he never straight up said the thing that, everybody, which is you're not playing directly with other people. Like, you can't hit your buddy with a laser gun, right? Like, that's what people want to know about. It's not that when I dig a hole that someone else can see the hole if they come there later. That's not what anybody meant by multiplayer, even though you could say that's multiplayer. It's a shared universe.
Yes.
But
I agree. And I think
like Nikita's just not saying what he needs to say, which is like, oh yeah, we're definitely not doing it. We said it's a cool idea, that we have a lot of great ideas, but... Or
just say, like, we have some ideas we want to explore, but we have to put that on the back burner. That might be something we revisit later. Like, you can even keep it cracked open.
But what he would need to say is, there's also a chance that we never do it.
Yes.
That's what you need, right? When he says, we're going to look at it later.
Yeah.
And everybody says, oh, okay, so they're going to, like, people don't hear anything other than, oh, okay, there's a chance. Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance, right? Rather than setting realistic expectations where it's like, it's a 50-50 chance we just don't do it at this point.
Yeah. I agree. And that's why it was so fascinating to me, because they hadn't talked about open world for years. The game obviously performs terribly. they've also obviously been talking about 1.0 a lot more recently. So I was like, this is your moment where if somebody asks you about open world, to just literally say that, be like, it's something we wanted to do 5 years ago when we started the game, but like we just can't. And so to like 2 or 3 times recently and in 2 or 3 different interviews be like, that's still the plan. We have cool ideas, but then also very much so not give off the vibe that you're anywhere close to having it figured out, but still giving off the vibe that 1.0 is right around the corner. That is just such a communication like conundrum to me. Like, why would you do that? What does it mean? Was it a translation error? Are you high? Like, I'm not coping for open world. I don't think that will ever happen. My fascination is just with the almost like allergy to clear communication that they have. You know what I mean? Just, I want it. I'll go to my grave wanting open world Tarkov. At this point, I think the best we're going to get is a few streets-sized maps, but it's just interesting. I mean, we're going to be talking about this for the next 2 years or whatever until we get 1.0 and see what the plan is. But and then the other like map related thing was he mentioned reducing some of the detail of the maps to increase performance. And I think at this point, nobody would really disagree with that. Like, obviously, their map design is S tier. Obviously, whether it's the engine or just the guys that optimize the game or a combination of a bunch of things, they're obviously having a hard time getting their really awesome, really detailed maps running well on people's computers. And so if there's less food and garbage and things on the maps so that they can optimize them a bit, I don't think anybody at this point is against that, right? So I don't know. But I say that to say that optimizing what we currently have seems to be sufficiently on their radar, and that they're making steps to try to do that, I guess, is the positive you could pull out of that.
You could say the same thing. Like, you could take that soundbite and have inserted it in 2018.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Once again, when we do these big info dumps, my job is just to report what was said.
Well, that ain't your job.
And maybe try to put a little positive spin. Maybe try to make a little bit of lemonade with these lemons, you know? But me as a gamer, as a Tarkov gamer at this point, my expectation is not anymore the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed that 2018, 2019 Jesse was, that like next patch is going to be it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just, we're here. This is what we have.
Yep.
Lots of other Tarkov Q&A related things, but before we dive into those, I do want to thank the first sponsor of this episode, and that is Factor. Factor is awesome because they are a ready-to-eat meal kit, which means that you get your food every week. Boom. You don't got to cook. There aren't ingredients. All you got to do is heat it up, and bam, delicious food, which is ready, which is awesome, especially because Factor is so great for like lunch. I am streaming, and I don't like being like, hey, I'm going to go make food, and I go like make myself a sandwich, right? Even when you're never aware of how long it takes you to do anything, how long like 5 minutes is, until it's like 500 people are just staring at my BRB screen for 5 solid minutes. It's like, oh my God, I hate it. So what I end up doing is just grabbing like a granola bar or not eating, or eating something cold. So Factor is like perfect for that kind of stuff. It's chef prepared, ready to eat. You just nuke it, heat it up, boom, delicious food.
Bro, I had the cinnamon raisin pancakes yesterday.
Oh,
so good.
Delicious?
Dude. With chicken sausage. Oh, bro. And oh my God, the cinnamon butter. Dude,
Stop.
it was so good.
Stop.
It was so good. I was never into breakfast until like, I guess my old age. I'm appreciating breakfast. And then waifu's got she picked out a few different things. I'm excited to have the Italian herb chicken. It looks so good.
Oh,
That's what we're having. I think tomorrow.
Dude, some of
Yeah,
these things, you get 34 plus things to choose from every week. Some of these things: bruschetta shrimp risotto, green goddess chicken, grilled steakhouse filet mignon. Like, awesome, dude.
Cheesy bacon, shredded chicken.
Bruh.
Hello.
Bruh. So one of the greatest things about this whole deal is how like customizable it is. So if you're trying to lose weight or something like that, there's tons of dietitian approved calorie smart meals, which are around like 550 calories per serving. You can go protein plus if you're trying to, you know, just be really full and satisfied, or just get a bunch of protein in there. Options with 30 plus grams of protein. There's
keto quiche Lorraine if you're a psychopath.
There's all sorts of like vegan and veggie options. So the flexibility has always been a thing for me in what type of food you want, because anything like this, obviously a lot of people with a lot of tastes. I'm not big into like fish or anything. You have to have a bunch of different options. So they have tons of options. They have options for tons of diets. They have options for, you can do 2 meals a week, 5 meals a week. You can do every week. You can skip a week here and there. So it's delicious, customizable. And then they also have a bunch of like a la carte stuff that you can do, once again, kind of like ready to go. So they have a bunch of like smoothies and stuff that were all the ones we tried were delicious. Which is just like, you could just add that on this week. I got a busy week. I want some extra things to get some extra just like calories on the go. Boom. So it's awesome. You can go to factor75.com/pogcast50 and use code POGCAST50 to get 50% off. That's code POGCAST50 at factor75.com/POGCAST50 to get 50% off. Thank you so much, Factor, for sponsoring this episode. My brain just went crazy there.
That Factor for psychopaths.
Factor for psychopaths.
God, I'm out hungry.
Dude, yeah. No, you know what? I want one of those smoothies right now. Holy cow.
That's what I did right before the podcast. I pull out my phone. I'm like, hey, I fed the cat, because my wife, this is the one day of the week that she works in the office. I'm like, I fed the cat. If you're going to make dinner, have the podcast. I haven't eaten yet.
Please make me food.
Like, I'm sending the SOS to.
Dude.
You can jitter click the button. Wow, holy shit.
Oh my God. Morse code, but for FPS players. You should get, like an on air, like the little lights above the recording studios.
Yeah,
that just says like dinner ? And put it up in here and like just press the button like, please, dinner, please.
You just reminded me, dog. Oh my God, it's been so long that for Christmas she got walkie-talkies.
No shot.
And I like, we used it for like a week and then I forgot it existed. It's been just like collecting dust. Hey, I'm gonna need some wait.
Dude, walkie-talkies.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some fucking SpaghettiOs for these, babe. Whenever you get a chance, we're down.
I need Hot Pockets stat.
Give me one of those psychopath keto quiche Lorraine.
You need to get like a dumbwaiter or whatever those things are.
What'd you call my wife?
Hot Pockets. My wife. Okay.
I hate you.
Dardu.
Dude, fucking Dardu. I'm just such a good band. Underrated. And then had you ever played that? One of my favorite like indie games, Darud Valley. Now I need to get like a chiptune, like old retro
yes, synth.
Yep. That's happening. Don't worry.
Okay.
Before the end of this episode.
All right. Well, while you look that up, okay, so there were more questions about arena and arena gear. Apparently, there's going to be specific types of gear that only spawn in arena, and then if you loot it and win with it, you can send it to your Tarkov character.
Oh God, it's gonna be like Apache helicopter airstrikes.
Yeah, like gold guns and stuff. And then separately, there's just going to be a few pieces of gear that will be exclusive to Arena for a while, and then they'll just end up coming to Tarkov.
Bro, speaking of coming, did you see did you see somebody, I don't know who it was, I forget now, but somebody tweeted, "This is what people expect skins in Tarkov to look like if they ever added skins." And it was like a straight up like weeb
gun.
Yeah.
Airsoft
it was
gun
like
or
this
whatever.
pink AK. And the first thing, you have like, there's like 60 airsoft dudes having like a group chat before, and the guy, like, he's got his like pink AK that's just covered in like anime shit, and he takes the magazine and it's like, ah!
When you insert it, it's like, ah! And then like when you shoot, it's like, ooh, 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 every time you shoot.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, fucking
Epic.
gold.
I think Axel tweeted that. Actually epic. Everybody, and most of the comments were like, honestly, put it in the game.
I'd be down.
Anyway, so custom gear that will apparently only show up in Arena at first and then eventually into Tarkov. And then I think this was the time Nikita explained this a little bit, and then literally Dimitri looked at him and Nikita said, oops, I wasn't supposed to tell you this. But apparently there's going to be like, I don't know how much this translates, but his literal verbatim words were like Magic the Gathering. And apparently...
I'm sorry? Wait, what?
Yeah.
You got my attention.
I know. Apparently there's going to be like a card system where you can find cards, and that card will be like a loadout. And then that
sounds nothing like Magic the Gathering. It just sounds like cards.
Yeah, listen, I didn't say
it. Sounds like the loadout is just a preset that you can find.
That is exactly what it is.
Unless I'm summoning fucking vampires and casting counterspell, don't invoke MTG. I just got so excited.
Yeah, no.
For nothing.
But yeah, apparently you'll be able to find them like in Arena, like if you're looting in a map, which I don't know how much you would do. But then apparently you'll also be able to find these cards in Tarkov. And like if you extract with it, you can then send it to your Arena account. And in your Arena account, you could have like, this loadout has like 5 uses. Like, I don't think it'll be a permanent thing. I think it'll be like you can use it for a few times or whatever. So I don't know. That was just an interesting thing that he talked about. I mean, I don't necessarily hate it. I think it's kind of cool finding loadouts and stuff like that. But it all comes down to like custom loadouts. When can you get them? You know what I mean? Because if it's like, if a week into Arena, everyone's running custom loadouts, then it doesn't matter. But if custom loadouts are really a thing that are hard to achieve or really expensive to run, then something like that could be cool. But obviously we don't know until we know. But so that was something. Somebody asked about like, are there going to be more in-raid traders or really any in-raid traders? Because Lighthouse Lightkeeper is definitely not a trader. He doesn't really do anything at this point. And he kind of like was like, because they used to say that they wanted all the traders in game. And he was kind of like, yeah, there's like some stuff we want to do. You know, we would like to put like maybe a few. So he like mentioned like a few other NPCs that are going to be in the game and potentially some other traders, but I don't know.
Okay.
Did you find the sample?
Maybe.
Okay. Because I can't hear it. I saw some Dardoos in the chat and then I can't. But no, it's fine. It's good.
Why, can people hear that? Chat, can you hear that? Oh shit. They can hear it? Could they hear it? Fuck! Shit! No, god damn it.
I was like, a bunch of people threw in some lulls and some Dardoos, and I was like, I'm talking about in-raid traders.
I'm like, yeah, keep going, keep talking while I'm like trying to fucking find like retro polyphonic synthesizer samples and
amazing.
Shit.
Well,
I blew my load too early, chat.
You blew your cover. So more in raid traders. This was a super interesting one, like that a bunch of people got kind of not up in arms about, but people were like freaking out about. I think this is chalked up to a translation error. And I mean that in like every level, where like he was trying to talk about something with some nuance in a language he doesn't speak naturally, but he was like I don't remember the context because I didn't watch the whole Q&A. I just watched some of the stuff. But he was like, Tarkov isn't a survival game. He's like, it's not supposed to be this like survival game. It's more about like combat and whatever. And what I think he was saying was like, Tarkov was never supposed to be like DayZ, like an open world, you stay in it forever survival game. But everybody was like, of course, what do you mean survive? The whole point is surviving and escaping and this. And like, you're crazy. Like, but I think that was more, he was saying it's not supposed to be like Scum or DayZ or Deadside, that it was supposed.
It has like survival elements,
Yeah,
just like it has. It's not an RPG.
Exactly. Like, of course, it's a survival game in the sense of like the whole point of every raid is to survive, but it's not a survival game that the way that like DayZ is, where you have to create a fire and I can get cold and I could die of cold. You know what I mean? And I'm building a shelter and it's always, I'm in it all the time. I think that's what he more meant. He confirmed that weapon skins are coming, but he's like I don't know when, but he was like I saw like I forget what it's called, but like a doc sheet, like a design sheet where like people were mocking up what it would look like and how it would be implemented into the game. He's like, I saw that. He's like, I liked what I saw, but it's not like a 911 priority for us. So I was like, oh, sick. That could be cool. We've wanted that for a long time. There's a lot of different ways they can implement that really well. That creates a lot of content and a lot of cool stuff. And so they're working on it in some way, shape, or form, which is cool. He confirmed that when the customized rigs come out, that you will be able to like interchange plates. Like you could have a class 6 plate and you're in the front and a class 2 plate in the back. Like you can literally put whatever you want, wherever you want, which will be really fast.
Flip that around and just call it the mullet loadout.
Yeah. Business up front, party in the back. The other thing that's going to be interesting too is you're not going to be able to kill somebody. You're not going to be able to see somebody and know what class armor they have. Like you could see a TV rig and in your head you go, my M61 or my M80 should pen that. But they could have all class 6s in there. You could see it as a Brawlo maybe with class 3s. So that'll be a really fascinating.
My God, everybody's going to be rocking Zabralos with no plates in them. Just to like, everybody's going to be like, oh God, it's a Giga Chat.
Or the other way around. People are going to be rocking P.A.K.As with class 6. What's the difference between a P.A.K.A and a Slick if you can replace the plates? Nothing.
Doesn't the P.A.K.A cover your stomach?
Maybe it does. Maybe it's literally better than a Slick. But it's going to be.
I picture the Slick as like a fucking belly shirt.
Yeah.
You can like see your.
Yes, like Tagilla's rig. Yeah, where you can see the little belly button.
Yeah. Oh shit, we have I just got a message from a friend of mine named Dardu.
Unrelated.
Yeah. Yo, I would imagine playing a game like Stardew Valley and this was the fucking OST.
Stardew Valley.
The actual song's faster, isn't it?
I don't know. Yes.
Anyway.
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, sorry. It's just,
We're gonna get DMCA
when
for that
when Dardu calls, you got to answer. Uh-oh. Jesse's frozen again, chat.
No!
I think I Dardu'd him. I'm just gonna play this until he comes. Oh, he's back. Nope. Now he's frozen. Oh my God! If you could fucking see. Do you have my stream
I did that
up?
on purpose. Yeah, I was like, if it catches up, I want it to be this face.
Jesus Christ! That was like I looked away and then I looked back up and it was a new frame and it genuinely scared me.
I should have just ran away. Just empty chair.
Oh, but your local recording is probably, does it have me freeze? Do I freeze?
No, you don't. That's why I think it's my internet then. because I'm not freezing what my upload. I don't know. Why would that happen? You know what I should have done? Should have put this in the chair.
What the fuck is that?
It's from the subathon.
Oh God, what did they have you do?
Oh, they chat spent $500 on Amazon, so naturally. Yeah.
Wait,
It's a pillowcase.
Is it two-sided?
It's a body pillowcase, yes, and it is two-sided.
Oh, let me see the other side of it real quick. Just like real quick.
Yep.
Okay, is that what anime is about?
Yes.
I think I get it.
Story time.
Wait,
No.
I think I get it.
Chat.
All I could think of is
I should have put that on the seat when it was frozen.
all I could think of is Shadowheart.
All I can think about is Shadowheart.
One day, chat soon. She will be
Soon.
mine.
She will be mine.
Shadow Bay. Did you see my title? I'm proud of it. It's 50 Shades of Fae.
I did see that, but I didn't get it. Because I don't know who Faye is.
Jesus Christ.
Uncultured swine.
They're like forest creatures in like
Oh, like the Fae.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought
Yeah,
I thought there was like
she's a half elf, so I don't know.
okay.
It just
Okay. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I don't get things.
Oh, it's
Nikita confirmed that there are going to be readable books in the game that unlock crafting recipes. Okay.
oh my God! Fucking scroll of detect life.
Yes.
Scroll of fireball.
Yes.
He's making D&D. Yo, D.
Maybe
oh my
it
God.
is. Maybe it is a RPG after all.
Bro, speaking of Magic the Gathering meets Tarkov, did I ever like show you when I made those magic cards?
Oh yeah.
Those were so fucking
That's
cool. I
so
don't even know
sick.
who they are.
Yeah, I remember you.
I stole them.
Yeah. I remember that.
I'll find them.
He was talking about the December patch, which is going to have a big graphical overhaul, and he literally specifically mentioned interchange lighting. Because, dude, I know I've talked about this before, but it's embarrassing. It is like something is wrong with interchange. I've known this for years, but it's just embarrassing because like the mall on streets looks so damn good. It looks so damn good. And if you don't believe me that something's wrong on interchange, just go there with MVGs. I literally went there with MVGs today, and it's just like, there's like noise. It's like you turn the noise setting on. It's all pixely and weird. And it's not like that on any other map at nighttime. Not a single other map. Like something on the map is so scuffed. It's nice not having the fog, but something on that map is scuffed. He mentioned, okay, so this is interesting because we just had this discussion. This is a classic, you and me talk about a problem. We see a problem and we talk about how we would solve it. And then BSG sees the same problem and this is how they would solve it. So like
They go the other way.
we were talking about scav karma. Remember that whole entire conversation we had about like the party system and how many problems that solves and how that means that scavs can shoot each other, but then there's still karma and there's still betrayal and there's still incentive to be together. But you avoid all these weird things of like, he shot at me, but he missed and I shot him and I lost karma because I defended myself. And how many problems we solved? They mentioned, he was like, we might do scav wars sometimes, where just sometimes you can shoot anything you want and not have a karma loss. But everything else would just stay the same all the other times. I was like, cool. It's just,
I guess that's a way of like, we created a problem.
Yeah.
So with a system, so what we're gonna do rather than make the system better is the system's only
just
on.
turn the
half the
system
time.
off sometimes. Like, I'm not even saying that it's a bad idea as long as it's exactly what I was going to say. Somebody said, as long as it's obvious in the goddamn game. As long as it's
No,
obvious.
they're just gonna shoot. It's only gonna be
Yeah.
obvious the 14th time you die in a row to a scav that you assumed was friendly, and then when they shot you, you assumed it was a player, and then you realized it was just the bots during the war.
Yeah.
Because you didn't read the message from Fence that
Exactly.
you got in
So if it's obvious in game, I'm not even saying that that's a bad idea. I think that would be fun for them to do. It's just funny in contrast to we just laid out a system where like that could be on all the time and the system could be more intuitive to the players. And like, it's just like, I have been thinking about that conversation you and I had since then, and we were talking about it on stream, and just like it solves issues with the current system. It's more intuitive to new players than the current system. It means that you can bring combat back to scavs, but still incentivize working together. It's just like so many things. And so it's just on the heels of that, to hear basically that they're like, sometimes we turn off scav karma and sometimes we turn it on. I was like, that's one way to do it. I don't know. I thought that was funny. Dude, they're so sick. So sick.
Oh man.
The big boss.
I really so badly want. I tried to look into getting these like printed.
Yeah.
Run and but yeah. It's one of those things like I'd probably spend a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And then people would be like, I would totally buy fucking 500 of those, and then like I'd sell like 14 of them.
Yeah. They're so sick though. Yeah.
Anyway.
He talked about up to four new factions being added to the game. The UN, the Russian Armed Forces. He mentioned something Guerrilla Armed Forces, and then he like,
oh, dude, too soon.
Teased Harambe. I know, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Too soon. Damn.
Is that even like that? Must be against the Geneva Convention, right? Having guerrillas fucking fight for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it's not gorillas, guys.
But now I'm mad it's not. Honestly, now, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, honestly, imagine Tagilla with his mask, the gorilla mask, rounding a corner with 8 gorillas in a flying V Mighty Ducks formation.
You see fucking Tagilla around the corner, he takes off the mask and it's a gorilla face. Oh, fuck.
Now I'm really mad that it's not that. Honestly.
Now I want like a post-apocalyptic Tarkov that takes place in a zoo where like fucking Jumanji. You're probably too young for Jumanji.
I know Jumanji.
Okay.
Robin Williams.
Oh, also too soon. God damn it.
And he teased the Black Division. Apparently the Russian military is going to be the faction on Shoreline, and they're going to be friendly to bears, like rogues are friendly to USEX.
You better worry about gorillas.
So now if you're a USEC on Shoreline, you're going to get beamed from 400 miles away, like you get beamed from 400 miles away as a bear on Lighthouse. Good thing that there are quests to kill USECs on Shoreline. If you have Arena, you will get Arena-specific quests in Tarkov. And somebody asked, like, what happens if you don't have Arena? And Nikita was like, I guess you just have to buy Arena.
Dude, that'll be like when I'm playing Hearthstone and I want to unlock the card back, and they're like, cool, you want this card back? Get to level 3 in World of Warcraft. I'm like, fuck!
Oh, is that a real thing?
Well, I actually level 2 in World of Warcraft, which I did like 5 years ago. That's just I played WoW. I killed like 4 fucking rats or whatever to like get to level 2, and then I uninstalled the game forever. And I still have the card back.
Is wow. Yeah, I didn't know. That's some cross pollination right there.
Yep.
Wow, that's just crazy. And then they talked about wipes a little bit. They talked about how, like, once again, the whole, like, it's been so long since they've specifically talked about, hey, we want to do no wipe characters and seasonally wiping characters. We've both talked about in the past how we think that would be a cool idea if they could swing it, right? If giant, massive changes would have to happen to the game in order to have a character that doesn't wipe that would be fun to play longer than 4 months, 6 months. This time when Nikita was talking about wipes in general, he was like, wipes are really good for the game. He was like, it seemed like he really understood that. So I think he was coming at it from not necessarily that they have it all figured out for no wipe characters, but that he understands that they don't. So he was like, we are working on figuring out ways that wipes make sense and like have seasons and stuff like that. So I don't take that as confirmation that there are still a no wipe character and a wipe character. I just take that as they are getting closer to 1.0 and they're trying to figure out how the hell to keep the game engaging post 1.0. And he was talking about how he understands how valuable wipes can be to do that if you can nail a stream of content each wipe. You know, things change, things are new. It doesn't have to be new maps, new things, but the game has to feel fresh. You can't just like press the wipe button and expect all your players to come back. So that was interesting. And then he still said that there is a location planned, which we don't know if it's a part of one of the maps that are already in the game or a new map altogether, where you can only go there if you're like level 15 and below or level 20 and below. So I don't think you're going to be locked to only being able to go to that map if you're level 15 or below, but it's a place, like a starting area where you can go and know you're not going to run into people that are level 50, which I think is a great idea if you dial it right. Like 15 kind of makes sense to me because like, it's like once you get the flea, you're going to start running into people who can buy a bunch of stuff, right? So if it's level 20, then you're going to find that. So 15 makes sense to me. If you're new to the game or something like that, or you're jumping in late wipe, I don't think that hurts anybody having a place where it's like, if you want to, you can go to this map and just like not freaking get annihilated by everybody. But yeah. So that was everything. That was everything in the Q&A. There was a few other small things, but before we dive into that, I want to take a second to thank the second sponsor for this episode, and that is BetterHelp. We love BetterHelp. We have been working with them for a long time. And I think both of us prioritize and understand how much mental health is important to our lives. And BetterHelp is like an online platform where you can find somebody that you can talk to about anything that you need to talk to, whether it's a current thing going on in your life, anxiety, or whether you're just trying to prevent mental breakdowns or bad things from happening. If you just want somebody to talk to, I think that's the thing when we talk about BetterHelp that we kind of go back to is even outside of any specific crisis, just having somebody to communicate with just about freaking life, dude, is unbelievably valuable.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of us, you know, a lot of people, you know, dump things on their family and on their friends, and you know that can be obviously like insanely beneficial to you. There are times where you know that might not be the right thing for you or for them. You know, depending on how serious it is. There's also like a massive spectrum of things that are mental health related. Like you know, people when they assume anything related to therapy, they're you know a lot of people picture. You're lying down on the flat bed, right? It's like the old guy with the clipboard asking you, you know, like revealing questions about yourself, which is just like it's just not what it is. And it's also not one thing, right? Like between talking about family issues to talking about issues with your own personal internal struggles that you might be having, talking about work, career stuff, you know, trying to get motivated or get rid of bad habits. You know, they have couples counseling, they have counseling, and all kinds of services for like kids, teens, which is also like, you know, huge. I mean, I can't imagine being a teenager and growing up in this day and age, especially with the internet. I can't even. Like,
seriously, it's, and I feel like the other thing too, the other like the newer version of that stereotype, the like lying on the leather couch, is like I feel like the way it's portrayed a lot in like media and stuff is that the therapists are just trying to figure you out so that they can just like tell you things and like keep the circle going. Like I've never felt that way. You know what I mean? That like, I don't know. I've had really good experiences and we have had experiences with BetterHelp where like, it's just, if you're somebody that's like, man, I just wish I had somebody to vent to, but then you're apprehensive of therapy. It's like, man, plug these things together because it really is that. Like in every single one of my experiences, it's just somebody that wants to give you the opportunity to speak your mind and like be real. Cause like we've talked about before, there's like the things you think and the things you say, and having an opportunity to say the things you think to somebody, because even sometimes that's the best medicine, to say something out loud and just immediately be like, I know. But if you don't ever get it out, it can be a thought that just cycles and cycles. And so my experience, just having somebody that's literally just there to be like, you can say anything and let's just work through it. You know what I mean?
That dude, asking whenever we've had, any real like progress or like, good discussions or whatever, me and my therapist, it's always been when she's just asked me questions to try to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And asking the right questions and getting you to think about it. And she'll ask a question and it's not like she knows the answer and is trying to like
guide you. Yeah.
It really is like, let's try to get to the bottom of this. I'll ask a question and then I'll be like, and then I'll instantly see a perspective that I never thought of, where it's like, well, shit. Well, now, this or that. Yeah. I mean, it really is one of potentially the most important things you could ever do in your entire life.
Yep.
Is pay attention to your mental health. So
for sure. So it's awesome. It's all online. It's once again extremely convenient. So a lot of the headache of this type of stuff gets taken out by kind of moving it online. There's a lot better and easier communication with the therapist, the ability to switch therapists and find somebody really quickly that you vibe with. It's really cool. So when you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. You can visit betterhelp.com/pogcast today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/pogcast. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode.
Muchas gracias.
Muchos gracias. Few final things. They are okay. This is the one. The face shield bug. Okay. You know how I wish Shouldaville was here, because the meme, which was that like if you repair a face shield, it doesn't actually repair, and you had to like go in the hideout and then come out, and then if you go into a raid and face shield, it's repaired. But
never heard of it.
The reality was it would always just repair it. Repairing face shields is now bugged, where you can repair it, and if you go into a raid, it still has a crack in it. Like it happened to me once, and I thought maybe it was just like a bug, but I literally the second time today, I had another face shield. It was a low enough durability that I could repair the face shield. The face shield's durability was like if the max durability, original durability was 40, the one I had was like 36 out of 36. It was fully repaired, and it had a big crack in the middle of my face. So 2 times it's happened to me.
No, bro.
Yeah.
You know how much mental health I flushed down the toilet, because that I don't know if you remembered, I was the one that did the whole like fucking explaining it to everybody, and then Shouldaville made a video that was like, yeah, my bad.
Yeah. Dude.
God fucking damn it.
So now I need to test if they like leaned into the meme, and like if you go into the hideout first and then go out and then go in, it fixes it. Imagine
that would assume that they can like if they have a goal that they accomplish it first try perfectly. It'd be more likely that there would be some other outcome.
Oh my god, bro. Yeah.
I there are no words.
So now there really is a face shield bug. Where if you repair a face shield, I mean, literally like 9 wipes. If you just repaired it, as long as you could repair it, it would work. And now you just can't repair face shields, which is like, it's not like a game breaking bug, but it's just like annoying when you spend money to repair it and then go into the raid and then you're like, oh, well, I guess this is just a useless piece of garbage.
So does it ever actually fix?
So not to my knowledge. I have not yet this wipe repaired a face shield and had it work. Now, that's only been a few times, so I can't confidently say it's a 100% repeatable bug. But for me, in my experience with the wipe, so far, it has been. Ay, Dios mío. Yeah. So that was a hilarious turn of events.
Oh, dude, seems super, super hilarious.
Yeah.
That they would do such a thing to troll the shit out of you.
Yes, basically. And then earlier today, they tweeted out basically a long list, like some updates coming soon that's going to fix a lot of things. So interesting things here are there was a bug temporarily. I never ran into this, which is crazy because I did a lot of questing, especially early on. But for a few days, there was a bug where if you turned in a quest, it would turn it in and you wouldn't get the rewards, like, or the XP. Which is like awful. Like I guess you could progress through the quest chain, but like that's brutal. Like you rely on a lot of the money and guns and like stuff you get from quests early on a lot.
In the XP.
Yeah, and the trader rep, dude.
Yeah. What the fuck? Like there are some like the way that it's designed, there are like a lot of little Lego pieces, and then there's like a bunch of huge Lego pieces that if you happen to turn in that quest,
yes,
like the one that gives you 5 sniper levels or whatever, it's like congratulations, you're fucked.
Yep. Seriously. So to that end, I was surprised to see like on this patch list things like unlocking of Jaeger and quest items, as well as reputation gain for the players who were not rewarded as a result of network infrastructure issues. So they've been able to identify the accounts who turned in quests and didn't get anything, and they're giving them. Like they've identified a few. So like Jaeger rep, unlocking Jaeger, like if you turned in the letter and didn't get Jaeger, and unlocking like if you turn in this quest and it unlocks the ability to purchase this thing. They've been able to identify those accounts. And then the very next thing was the refund of the Epsilon container for people who not received it as a reward for the quest Punisher Part 6. So that, to my knowledge, they've never done before. I've never seen that where they've actually been able to be like, hey, a bunch of people turn in this quest and these are the accounts that didn't get it. And you're just going to get an Epsilon in the mail if you didn't get it.
Yeah, but they've never had something that big that I can think of.
Yeah,
like,
maybe not. Maybe it's because they've always had the ability to do that, but they've just hadn't had that bug before. That's a good point. But I was just glad to see that. I didn't run into any of those issues, but I was glad to see that they're like giving people some of the stuff that they missed. I was like,
yeah.
That's nice. They're fixing like literally the entire wipe. It's been 50-50. If you try to scav streets, just like 50% of the time, you match for 5 minutes and then it just fades to black and it says server connection lost. So that was how it was for me with reserve. Yeah, I remember that too. It's just weird because last wipe it wasn't like that for streets. Streets ran worse last wipe as far as like when you were in the raid.
Yeah, because it ran so bad that nobody scabbed it, they all went reserve.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true. Or lighthouse. Various 6s for the sound and the environment, bro. There's like 8 different places on streets you can just fall through the map. Dude, I have seen, and it's not like you have to jump to this area and like clip through something. I've seen 10 clips of a dude like fighting. Oh, they get hit and they're like backing up, reloading. And they just go, whoo, just like looking up at streets.
And then do they just fall and then
just die
forever?
And then they just die.
Do they hit like a death wall or?
It's like 10 feet below the map, you just die. Like I think it's an anti-cheat thing. Maybe you're just like dead. There's also places you can fall through the floor into locked rooms. Like there's a room called the security key room.
Oh no, people are fucking BLJing like Super Mario.
Yeah.
Like God
so
almighty.
Like you could fall in there and just like wait and see if somebody ever opens the door and then shoot them if they do. But a bunch of people have fallen in there and not had the key. If you have the key, you can unlock it from the inside, but it's like,
oh, you're trapped.
You're just trapped, dude.
Well, you have to exceed 160 units per frame if you want to backwards long jump through the wall.
Dude, the BLJ.
Yeah, yep. The infinite staircase on Lighthouse.
Yeah,
infamous.
It's
where all the raids die.
There's a place on streets by one of the extracts where you are totally fine. You can walk, you can stand, you can do everything, but any loot you throw on the ground falls to the floor. Just loot, not you. So like literally me and Desmond's like, I think if you jump on this and I jump on you, I can get to the spot. And he ditched his backpack because he was heavy and he was going to pick it up. And literally everything he had picked up from that raid just fell right through the floor. I was like,
well, on the bright side, he'll get his backpack back from insurance.
He
The
will-
scabs won't pick it up.
He will get his backpack back from insurance. By the way, that's
Just said I used MIPS to get into dorms marked and fucking God Almighty. Do you remember MIPS, the bunny? Use the bunny that you use in Super Mario to like clip the door.
I've seen clips of that. Yes.
Oh, that
Don't you have to like
10
chase
out
him
of 10.
down and catch him?
You chase him. I mean, yeah, that's what you normally do. You chase him down and catch him, but you like go to the corner of the doorway, and what happens when you like drop an item and then go to like pick it up, it like moves you back, so it like move you through the
Wall.
Fucking A, that's a 10 out of 10 joke. That's a deep cut.
I wish we could use MIPS to get into dorms marked. It's funny because we were talking about the scavs looting your stuff. It's crazy, dude. Like these scavs will drop every single thing they have on them to pick up your stuff. Like if you die and a scav comes,
You just see it like poop out of them, like
yes,
oh,
like you'll
what a
walk.
meme.
Like I've walked up to my buddy and been like, dude, how did he loot you? Like the guy, like someone killed Vel, and I'm like chasing this guy down, and I can't ever find him. I'm like, yo, how did he loot you? And then you see a scav with like a TV rig and like Vel's backpack and a huge gun on his back, but he still has the TAWs, and you're like, what the hell? It's crazy. They'll loot everything. Fixes for some.
Do they loot it all instantly, or is it like pick up?
No,
items?
one at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. Fixes for several causes of memory leaks.
Yo, they fixed the memory leak.
They
Oh
fixed
shit!
the memory leak. Couple of
Oh, yeah, speaking of,
errors.
Baldur's Gate has a giant fucking memory leak.
Does it really?
Oh yeah. I have to more than Tarkov or any other game. I have to restart Baldur's Gate.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorting table bugged. Incorrect playing of out of stock. The RSAS barter's been bugged for 2 weeks, which is
The one for guitar. Oh wait, that's not guitar picks or dog tags.
yeah.
The one that I proposed for like X dog tags, and Nikita was like, "Oh, great idea for 3X the dog tags," and it was like,
Yeah,
dude.
and even so, that's still like the way people get RSASs. But like either the barter is bugged or it legitimately resets with 3. Like it is just never not sold out. Like it's like the stock is just 3.
Well, I mean, even if the stock was 500,
Yeah.
it's the same as the flea market thing. You have
Yeah.
a million people all hitting refresh.
For
their,
sure.
their PC clocks are all
Yeah.
3, 5, 10 seconds different.
But that's what I'm
And then
saying.
networking
Like
speed, so
in
yeah.
previous wipes, it wasn't this bad. Like you'd catch it out of stock if you got there 5, 10, 15 minutes late. But it's been out of stock for 2 weeks. It's crazy. And then the option to hide the trader list, which actually I like. So right now when you click trader, it goes to the exact same screen it always was, the grid with like all 8 of them.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you click on that, it goes you to the new UI where all 8 of them are up top. And my muscle memory is so strong. I'm trying to get used to the new UI, but like I'll click therapist, but I meant to click proper. So I'll hit escape and back out when I didn't need to. So they're going to add an option to hide that the grid menu, which I think will be great for my workflow personally. You just click traders and I just want to be right there and I can just click around up top. The ones. So that's cool. And then they said that it's, and then like Apple responded to like someone's tweet and said like, we're trying to get this out like sooner than you think, like next few days. So I don't know exactly when, but yeah, some good changes in there.
Huh.
But that's the Tarkov things. A lot of arena news and gameplay. Big Q&A from Nikita. Oh, and then yeah, the when for arena was still like somebody asked Nikita when, and he was like soon. And then Dimitri looked at him, and Nikita was like this year. So I don't know if that was like Dimitri was just like, hey, set right expectations here. Don't say soon if it's not soon. Or if Nikita just genuinely doesn't understand what soon means. But we still don't know when arena's coming out. When the beta. Beta. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah. I mean, you've been playing Baldur's Gate, so any Diablo news or anything? You said they
what,
previewed season 2, but like
yeah, I mean,
that's
but
not
it's
going
like
to be out for a while.
it's like October or something.
Oh shoot.
And I think they just did it because of Gamescom.
Yeah.
They had something right to show.
Yeah.
Something new or exciting. There's a 25% XP weekend this weekend, and it's like it's probably because of Starfield. And
Oh yeah.
probably not gonna be
That
playing.
makes sense.
But I don't know. We'll see. I like this is something that I had like a fucking mental breakdown in Discord the other day about my latest Diablo video because I just fucking hate the YouTube algorithm so much.
Yeah.
Like that's like honestly that deflated my interest more than anything.
Yeah. And we've talked about that before, where it's like, it's not like you're only interested in something for the money or for the whatever you can get out of it. But as a content creator, our favorite things to do are create content that people enjoy. And when we get that positive feedback, that feels good to us. And it's deflating and demotivating to create another awesome piece of content and just have it be completely suppressed for X, Y, or Z reason.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, it's so. I might be able to actually show a couple of screenshots because it's actually so fucking wild how inconsistent it all is for one, and for two, the gaslighting when it comes to YouTube content from people who genuinely have no fucking idea what they're talking about. It's like, well, bro, like, what do you expect? Like, this was your thumbnail, or like this, like your title. If you had changed like this to this, it would have been. And it's like, people just don't know what they don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And everything is always like hindsight is 2020.
Of course.
But like, I have a couple of screenshots where I was actually talking to I have a buddy of mine I contacted YouTube. So for context, my rogue build guide video, it got like 60,000 views in a day. It's at 300,000 views, and literally within the first hour, I was like, this video is blowing up.
Yeah,
like,
you can just tell.
Hour.
Yeah,
because you have like this like gray line that's like the normal trend, and then it was like my video was like this, just above everything, right? And I'm like, oh shit. So then I got really excited. I released a couple other videos that were like, kind of like, here's the story of my progression, in between, and they, got like 5,000-6,000 views or whatever. It's kind of meh. And I'm like, all right, well, now I'm going to release my a second build guide video, which was even better than the rogue one.
Yeah.
And it like within the first 24 hours got like, I don't know. I don't even know if it got like 2,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I knew in the first 30 minutes, I'm like, the video's dead. It's DOA.
Yeah.
And I just like panicked, like made a new thumbnail, changed the title a little bit, you know, because we talked about that, how sometimes that'll like reignite.
For sure.
And I've gone through 4 titles and 4 thumbnails, and the line is just, and
yep.
I don't think this is necessarily the case, although there is some evidence of like something maybe. There is a possibility that like YouTube suppresses this video for whatever reason. I don't think this is necessarily the case.
Yeah.
But like the more, okay, so I architected single-handedly the entire mobile and web analytics architecture, software architecture for one of the biggest robotics companies in the world. I know analytics. I know how the data is collected. I know the fucking pitfalls. I know so much of it is confirmation bias, post hoc rationalization, and a lot of it is how you interpret the data.
Yeah.
It's really easy to like look at numbers and to come up with a conclusion and assume that's what happened.
Yeah.
But you can be wrong about that. So one of the things I initially noticed was the video that blew up, when you looked at the the like percentage of subscribers versus not subscribers.
Yeah.
It was in the first 24 hours, 95% of the impressions were not subs, which is like kind of good because my
Yes.
subs are all Tarkov viewers.
And you want
you
YouTube
show my
showing.
Diablo video to Tarkov viewers. They're going to watch 8 seconds of it, go, what the fuck is this? They're going to click away. And then YouTube is going to assume my video's dog shit.
Yeah.
Because people are watching it for 8 seconds.
Yeah.
So, and then the video that died was 65% subscribers.
Yep.
And it's like, well, why? I've got screenshots of all these numbers. I got like 22 million impressions.
Oh yeah, on the other one.
Within the first couple of days on the one that blew up, and it was like 17,000. So like YouTube put it in, recommended it as a recommended video either in their home feed or the like the next video on top to tens of millions of people. And then this one, it didn't. And of course, I've got like a dozen different people telling me, well, bro, what do you expect? Like, no one knows what a hodabarb is. So why would you put that in the title? It's like, if you don't know what a hodabarb is, I don't want you to watch the video.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't for, like, it's a build guide for a hodabarb. People are searching for hodabarb build guide, you know? Like, but of course, you know, I'm trying to change all these things. Then people are like, oh, well, you know, look at all these other videos. Or they'll say, oh, well, maybe if your thumbnail was, you know, a little bit clearer or blah, 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 you know, like this and that. And then here, let me actually, I'm literally going to pull up some of these images because
it's just like, man, people, they see a few tweet threads breaking down a Mr. Beast thumbnail and title and think they know like YouTube. It's wild.
Bro, okay, so, and there were, the other day when all this went down, there were like 2 Hodabarb, and Hoda stands for Hammer of the Ancients, Hodabarb build guides that had come out recently.
Okay.
And all of the other ones were 2 months old.
Okay.
Whether they had a 200,000 views or 20 views, they were like 2 months ago. And a large part of that was because a lot of people thought Hodabarb was dead, so they weren't building it, which you could argue is why people weren't like searching for it. But, you know, like maybe I'll get into that afterwards. But if you searched for Hodabarb build guide, my video, for 75% of the people I asked, I was like, go to incognito mode and search for Hodabarb build guide. My video was the 100th in the list.
Damn. Which is wild.
Or 70th in the, like, what?
Because it was a new video made by a creator who had a previous, like, I would have thought the YouTube algorithm would have said, you have a previous build guide for Diablo that went crazy, that had a lot of retention and people watched. That is surprising, honestly.
Yeah. And then people are like, oh, well, you know, if the subscribers, you know, all these subscribers are watching it, so it totally could have been, you know, like watch time. Like, I bet you it was the watch time. I had a larger percentage viewed and a longer watch time on the Hodabarb video.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like they watched like 32% of the video on average rather than 22%. So it's like people are watching the video for longer, which is, that's another thing that people will say. Thumbnails are the most important.
Yeah.
Titles are the most important.
Watch
time's the most. Everybody's the fucking expert, right? Yep. And then it's like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm like opening up 27 tabs with a bunch of pictures because I want to show you guys some of the analytics and like what I'm looking at, because it's like, it's so fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
And it's so disheartening because if you want to be good at something, you want to master something, you want success at something, it can't be a black box. It can't be seemingly random. It has to be masterable. It has to be, right? Like, so when I do a bunch of stuff and I see success, bam, replicate that. And then all of a sudden it does worse than everything else when I've done exactly the same thing, except better, because it was my second one. So I learned from it.
Yeah.
Like, here. So I want to pull up my thumbnail. Hold, please. So, okay. So first of all, people were saying that my thumbnail wasn't like good or clear, or people like, if I looked at that, I wouldn't know what it was about, or like what game it was.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
now this is like a low res version, right?
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Like, out of all the thumbnails there,
Yeah.
do any of those stick out to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like, this instantly pops to me in terms of readability, in terms of contrast, in
Yeah.
terms of subject matter. The only other thing that I see, like Diablo here, but like that looks like it looks like a goat. It looks like a goat man. Right?
Yeah.
This right here has got so much fucking bullshit on the screen, right? When you think about like visual design.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not that mine's the greatest in the world.
No,
right?
I understand what you're saying.
But
And
in terms of, like, visual
agree,
design
it definitely
principles.
stands out for sure. Yeah.
And then you look at, here, some other examples. This is the thumbnail of a video that had like 300,000 views. So tell me thumbnails are like, it's all about readability and whatever. It's like, you would never, ever, 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 ever know what this was unless you very specifically like played Diablo.
Insane.
So, and these are just all instances where they're counter examples to all of the
Yeah.
things that people say as simple, hard, fast rules.
Yeah.
It's 900 fucking labels of damage that are
Overlaid
overlapping
on top of each other.
and then imagine what it looks like when you're viewing it on mobile and it's tiny. It's a yellow blob.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, if I had put out my video and it had failed, then people would have unanimously said, bro, what do you expect? Your thumbnail was dog shit.
Yep.
Which is just, they're rationalizing. It's post hoc rationalizing.
Yeah.
They're like, I know what the conclusion is. Therefore, I'm going to say whatever makes sense and assume that I'm right because the conclusion is assumed from the beginning. The
Yep.
video failed. Here's another one that like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But don't tell me that mine is like not a good looking thumbnail when this video.
Yeah.
I forget the exact numbers, but it had like 38,000 views, and this guy had like 600 subscribers or something.
Yeah.
It's like, why, when I have 100,000 subscribers, I have a better thumbnail, a better title, you can't tell me that these are the things that are.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not hard and fast like that. Like people say it is. Yeah.
Where are some other examples here? Oh, okay. So yeah, so this was literally in the 1 or 2 days that the first video.
Yeah.
83%
from YouTube recommending. Yeah.
2.4 million people had my video in like that they scroll by in either in the recommended feed or in the recommended video, right? 20%, 19%. I got 913 views from impressions, 200,000 views from impressions.
Yeah.
And like the videos, and so one of the things that people were saying was, well, if people aren't searching for it, so because they don't search for it, and it's not going to get recommended.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's like in the first hour, when I get 20,000 views in the first 45 minutes or whatever, you can't tell me that 20,000 people Googled it. Googled like.
Yeah. All we can do is basically be like, it seems based on, but yeah.
But yeah, so like literally this right here was like what I was looking at in the first few hours.
Yep. And you're like, oh.
Instantly knew, bang. And it was like this. I instantly knew it just flat.
Yep.
And it's not like if it was based on the content being bad, I would expect it to go whoop, and then flatline.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of people would watch it and then be like, oh, this is bad. But when you read the comments, all the comments are like all my other fucking content. Wow, this is the best X of this genre. Please keep making more. You've changed the way I've played the game. Everything's amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much. And then YouTube is just like, okay, you're not going to watch it. You know?
It really is like, I don't know. I mean, I go through the same thing. It's like impossible to interpret because people are like, watch time is the most important thing, but then like that's not always true, because if your video gets, if 1 million people click on your video, your watch time would definitely be lower because like 1 million people clicked on it. So enough of them are going to click away early that it's going to bring the watch time down. Whereas if only 10 people watched your video, if they watch it for 10 minutes, then that's crazy good watch time. And it's the same thing with like click-through rate. Everyone's like, oh, well, click-through rate. If your thumbnail isn't good, I'll have a low click-through rate, click-through rate, click-through rate. But it's the same thing. You can have like a decent click-through rate your first day, but then if YouTube blows up your video, your click-through rate plummets because it's showing it to so many more people that like you could have a video with 500,000 views and your click-through rate's like 1% because it showed it to so many people. So all of the things, all of the statistics or the analytics or all the things people point to, yeah, like exactly like you said, there's a counterpoint to it. If it's like, if your thumbnail isn't readable, well, here's a bunch of unreadable thumbnails with 10 million views. It's the click-through rate is low. Well, here's a video that did much worse with a much higher click-through rate. It's like there isn't like a just this stat always determines whatever. There is definitely some hand behind the curtain that just sometimes goes, yes, my chosen one, and gives it the views, and sometimes it doesn't. And it can be very frustrating.
Yeah, and after everything, like looking through 1 million graphs and doing comparisons and doing actual like the kind of analysis that a fucking professional person who was like not a data scientist level, but like, as close as you can get to that without your eyes getting wet, someone's gonna get that reference. I think I know like ultimately what it comes down to. Because it's really the only thing that makes sense, assuming we eliminate that YouTube's like suppressing the video, which I actually thought was kind of like sort of a, not like a myth or a rumor, but like, like, but it's been kind of, I'll just say, verified as something that happens.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that. Now, I would assume it's probably more like, KKK, Nazi shit or something like that. But so if you had to guess, if you just had to guess, what do you think would be your best guess at if you had to choose one thing to point to for why the video failed?
I don't know. I haven't watched the video, so I don't know like the content of the intro or whatever. The thumbnail looked great. You changed the thumbnail and the title multiple times. I haven't had really a great success with that either. My findings are normally like yours, where everything kind of just sits. I don't see huge bumps or declines. So I really don't know. Why do you think it is?
Ultimately, I think it was just timing. I think that the 2 or 3 week difference between the two videos is in, this is what people would say, the game died. But I think it's interest overall in the game waned. Yeah. The timing of the rogue build video, there was 1 million people all searching for rogue build guides. Yeah. So I think, and I think there were probably less people searching for it. So what ends up happening is, rather than a lot of people searching for the thing and then it being served in front of their face, and then them saying like, that is what I want right there, based on the thumbnail and the title, it looks good, I'm gonna watch it. Which is what they did with the rogue video. I think the same thing would have happened with the Barb video if there was as many people searching for it, but I genuinely think there were probably less people searching for it. So it wasn't getting shown mostly to people searching for it. It was getting shown more often to like Tarkov subs. In their home feed for me. So the impressions, you're just talking about 100,000 potential impressions, right? For people that are not going to click on it. Like most of the impressions, and like we saw from the analytics. 85 or whatever the number was, 60%, something like that, 58, I don't know, whatever, were like subscribers, rather than all of the other impressions being non-subs. And if they're non-subs ostensibly, then it's either been recommended or searched for. So I just think like it was a slightly less popular build at a time close to the lowest of its popularity.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's one of those things where it could be like levels and like this happens, which triggers this, which triggers that, because like the disparity between the two videos is so vast that it has to be like, in my brain, like more than one thing. But it's like, if the way the YouTube algorithm picks up a video and then shows it on a recommended feed as opposed to a search speed, exactly, a search feed, if it first looks for, if people are searching for this video, if people are searching for this topic, are they clicking this video? If yes, are they enjoying this video? If yes, is it a candidate for something we can pull out of search and put on recommended? If yes, then they try that. And then if it works, that can be truncated maybe even into 30 minutes for the YouTube algorithm. But that could explain the disparity between like your first video hit when people were searching for rogue videos, so that it was showing in search and then people were clicking and then people were watching and then it pulled it. Because ultimately what makes a video get to 300,000 views is it gets pulled off of search, not off of, but it pulled from search and puts on recommended. That's how a video goes crazy. So it's like,
then it'll show up in search results for like
everything.
Everything. You search Diablo 4, and boom, it's in the top 5.
So it's like, like your video could be just as good or better, but like one thing, if people aren't searching for it or like whatever, causes that entire snowball to not happen, then that one thing is the difference between 2,000 views and 300,000 views. So yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. In my rogue video, do you ever pay attention to click-through rates?
Yeah.
So do you have like an idea for what like a decent click-through rate is?
I mean, like, it depends. Like, you know, something like a highlight video or something. Let me see. Of mine might have like an 11 to 14% click-through rate. Like the big movie video that I did recently that has 363,000 views has a 3% click-through rate. Because once it gets into that echelon and it starts showing it to millions of people as opposed to thousands of people, the percentage points go crazy. So it's hard to tell. I would guess that like your rogue video probably has a 3 to 5% click-through rate.
23%.
At 300,000 views?
Yep.
That's crazy. That's mind-blowing to me.
Dude, the guy I talked to at YouTube was like insane.
That's mind-blowing to me.
I mean, that's just fucking insane.
That to me, like, I don't want to sound sensationalist, but that to me confirms what you said is true. That it's just the timing of that video. Like, that is not, I can show you
let me just
8 of my videos. Number. Look at any other video of yours with 200,000 or 300,000 views or higher. Any other video and tell me it's click-through rate.
Let's take a look at one of my videos. I'm going to click. Okay. Let's see where I was like Tarkov going in the wrong direction. All right, let's look at the analytics for that one. That one that has 600,000 views. Where's the click-through rate?
So analytics and then reach.
Reach around. Is it? Do you scroll down, or is it one of the tabs?
It'll just right at the top under reach. It'll be impressions, click-through rate.
4.2%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So an impression is just like it's on someone's screen at one point, whether it's on the side next to a video.
It was an impression. How many people clicked on that impression?
Yeah, and it's 7.6 million impressions.
Yeah, my video has 6.4 million impressions, 3.4% click-through rate. Yours 7 million impressions, 4. Yeah. So
let me pull up because now I'm like questioning
that many impressions on the Rogue video to have a 25% click-through rate is literally unheard of.
Wait, no, I'm smoking crack. I think where maybe I need to look in the first 24 hours. Okay, sorry. Subtract 10 from that. I don't know why.
But still total, like still of like all
over
time.
over 10% in the first 24 hours.
Okay, yeah.
And that's out of 1.9 million impressions,
Yeah.
right? Like that's
high, yeah.
but I mean, even still, now looking at the Barb one, it's like half of that. It was like 7% or something. So, see, and here's the thing: people will say your click-through rate's half. So clearly, your title and your thumbnail are half as good. And it's like,
no, yeah, it's not
well,
that. It's
no,
not
it
always
could be
that.
the perfect
Yeah.
thumbnail and the perfect title. But if people, I'm not interested in a barbarian build. Like, if I don't care what the thumbnail or the title was. If I saw like a necromancer build video, I don't care. I never worked at Hot Topic, and I don't like fucking vampire films, so I don't care about necromancer builds.
Yeah.
Sorry. But like,
Yep.
a rogue build you might be interested in. Honestly, it's like if you like baseball and you don't like hockey, I don't care what the video is. I'm probably not going to watch the hockey video.
Yeah.
You know.
No, for sure.
So the interpretation is like, oh, it's clear, dude. Your thumbnail's bad. Change it.
No, it's
what they
not.
don't realize is that that's my 5th thumbnail.
Yep.
And my thumbnail, and then a number of people were like, I sent them this. I'm like, do you think this is better? They're like, that's way better. I'm like, this is what I had for the first 48 hours. Eat your fucking words. You don't know anything. None of us do.
Yep.
Like, it's so
that
fucking
is wild. Yeah.
So now, honestly, like now knowing that, I feel like I don't know that I want to invest any time in Diablo content.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I'm not doing it for money, but there's a threshold
for sure.
If one person watched my videos and was like, this is the most amazing thing, sorry, that's not enough to sustain me wanting to spend 40 hours a week working on that stuff. Or
even if you made $0 from your rogue build video, it's still just like you want to succeed at what you're doing. And when you feel like that success is out of your control, it's demotivating. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, but now I'm in this weird fucking place where I'm not sure what I want to do for content. I'm genuinely like, do I want to make Baldur's Gate? I don't know. Everybody's making Baldur's Gate content. I'm not going to make Tarkov content. I just don't even know now. I don't even know, dude. I'm in like a really weird limbo. And the problem is that like the 3,000 people that watched, the 3,000 or 4,000 people that watch that video and are like, love it. They would be like, dude, we would love to see anything from you. Or they'll say, we would love to see A, B, or C from you. And it's like, yeah, but like, I don't know. There's only so long. Like, there's only so long when you start up your business or your pizza shop. There's only so long you want to keep making the one pizza for the one family that orders from you every day.
For sure.
Where you're like gonna want some more customers to come in the door, and eventually like you want the tables to be filled.
Yep.
Otherwise, like you didn't start the pizza joint in just wanting to scrape by forever.
Yep.
And right now that's like what.
Yeah. I understand. That's brutal.
And honestly, like I'm very rapidly going more towards I'm going to start making far more sensationalized and dramatic titles and thumbnails.
Yeah.
Like you just got to play the game because I need people to click on it.
Yeah.
I need, like, if I don't get people to click on it, I'll be able to sleep at night and nobody will give a fuck about my content.
Yeah.
What am I'm not going to lie. It's not going to be
of course
misleading clickbait. I'm not going to put the bikini chick in my video where it's a 14-minute video essay about
Mr. Beast's face.
Yeah. But like, it's going to have to be like, is this the most broken thing you've ever seen with a build that's like really overpowered? It's not misleading.
Yeah.
But I have to, we got to trick people into clicking. They got to say, I have to watch this.
Yep.
Otherwise, I don't make any money. And my channel is going to be stagnant forever.
Yeah.
And I hate that, and I might be like overthinking it. I get this feeling that like I'm going to lose the respect of like 30% of my audience. It's like selling out and probably nobody's going to fucking care because I go to everyone's videos that has a gajillion views and they do the most blatant, shameless shit. And you look through the comments and like nobody calls it out. And you're like, well, I guess nobody fucking cares.
Yeah. No, it's dude. I mean, I feel this. Like I have had these same thoughts. I have had these same moments where like I look at X video and it does well, Y video it does poorly. Like I have done, and the thing is I got nothing to show. I got nothing to say. You know what I mean? It's like exactly like you said. I can't be like, this is it. You just have to look at this metric, and then this is it, just forever. And what you're doing is hard because switching games is like a whole different thing of like learning the audience. You know what I mean? At this point, I know how.
I got a taste of it with that video.
Yeah,
I'm like,
for sure, for sure.
And then balloon's been fucking deflated.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. That's brutal.
Blame YouTube.
Yep, YouTube.
Blame YouTube and the audiences that they're rewarding, right? If people weren't so easily manipulated by thumbnails and titles, then the algorithm wouldn't reward it.
Yep.
I just wish, honestly, like I hate to say it, but you know how, did you ever do any like Google AdWords stuff?
Yeah, a little bit back in the day.
How you could literally spend money and say, show it to 29 to 34-year-old men from the United States whose primary language is English, who like ARPGs, who like Diablo, who like Rogue. Show it to them. I'll pay YouTube $500 to not show it to my subscribers. Don't show it to anybody who's ever typed in Tarkov into a search bar.
Yeah.
Because you're fucking me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make another channel. I tried that.
Yeah.
And then, well, what do you expect, dude? You don't have any subscribers. How is people gonna?
It's always something, dude. I don't know. I feel the frustration and I empathize with it, and it just sucks because it's like, I don't know.
And I just know. I know if you were to strap down, if you were to anybody who's ever been interested in like summoning salt or speed running or world record stuff or whatever, if you strap them down, tie them to the chair, put the belt, and you just
a Clockwork Orange them.
Yeah, and you put on my fucking speed run videos. At the end, they would be like, "This is the best content I've ever seen. I want more of it."
Oh my god!
But the video will not be put in front of them.
Yeah.
And if they see it, they might not click on it. But I promise you, they would love it. And it's so frustrating when it's like I'm making a better product than 98% of the people out there. I don't think I'm being cocky. There's so much garbage on YouTube that blows up. Nobody can disagree with me. There's so much trash.
Yep.
It's, you know how many videos are like, it's like Elsa poops in her diaper, runs from Spider-Man. 500 million views, right? Like it's, so why, when I spend 3 months and make a 45-minute Netflix quality documentary, composing my own music, doing like investigative journalism, does it get 1,200 views?
A bunch of people from chat are going to go YouTube that right now. Elsa poops in her diaper and runs from Spider-Man.
I mean, I literally made that up and I bet you it exists. Elsa poops in diaper. Also Spider-Man. Spider-Man versus Spider Baby Poo. Spider-Man changes Elsa's dirty diaper. Frozen Elsa Spider-Girl baby doll poops. The first two search results. Nah, dude, no. Why would anybody click on a Hodobar build guide when you can see Elsa's bathtub, Spider-Man and Hulk wants to pee?
Wow, this really.
Spider-Man and Frozen Elsa. Poo-colored balls. Funny superheroes in real life. Give me the money. 5 million fucking views. Sponsored by BetterHelp, by the way. Sponsored by BetterHelp. I'm actually so looking forward to therapy.
Thank Christ this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Well, I am sorry, and I get it. I do. Well, Veritas looks like he's
all I'm
about.
Thinking about is, do I want to make a video where I just rant about this?
Smash his monitor, dude.
Oh
The velocity.
I'm gonna Hulk smash colored poo ball. Elsa frozen smash my monitor.
Well,
This episode went off the rails.
this, you know
I'll go
what?
play Starfield.
This is what we're saying. See, we're guaranteeing that even though the Patreon exists, we will let these episodes go off the rails. We'll still put out 2.5 hour episodes where we mauled about
put out.
the
Period.
the YouTube algorithm. Well, that's the stuff.
Post this.
Thank you. Thank you for coming with us on this journey, on this emotional.
We'll put out.
So many times. Thank you for coming. We will put out. I promise.
No, I just typed in Starfield. I was changing the category, and the first thing that popped up I see Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley.
Stardew.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging with us. If you got this far in the episode and enjoyed it, you're insane, but also you should maybe consider checking out our Patreon ! Well, this is wow. I'm live too often. I was just going to say ! Podcast because that's the command in my chat. Patreon.com/the Pogcast linked below since I can't speak. But thank you guys for hanging. Thanks for sticking with us. Thank you for the support. We love doing this, and we'll keep doing the Maldcast, the Spalding Maldcast. Some of those pictures that ended up on Twitter were hilarious. But thank you guys for hanging, and we will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.